Okay, we're live. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
If anybody's listening yet, probably not yet. And I haven't advertised this stream, so we might not get many. I'm just going to open it up and mute it so that we can see what's going in.
How do I sound?
There, sorry, there was a.
Do I sound good, guys?
I could hear.
Yeah, you sound
All right.
fine.
All right, I got good headphones, so.
Okay. All right, right on. So today I've got Captain Boy and Nick with me again. We're going to go over a few general topics. Some of it MGTOW related, some of it not. And I think we'll start. And because it's November, and that means it's Bruce Lee's birthday. When is it, Captain Boy? What's the day?
On the 27th.
27th. So 27th of November is the birthday, or would have been. He would have been what? 77.
77 years old, yeah.
Okay.
And he passed away at 32 years old.
Right. 32. Geez. So he's been dead a while too, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, if I don't know if Bruce Lee would relate, how much he relates to MGTOW, but I definitely I've read a lot of his, not a lot, but I've read some of his stuff.
Yeah.
And he was quite the philosopher, and I agree with a lot. I remember agreeing a lot with some of the things he philosophized about, and I think a lot of it can be tied into MGTOW philosophy.
Oh,
as
yeah,
well.
I'm pretty sure, because he wouldn't limit himself to just one thing, right? It would be about everything. So, and that probably
Yeah, well,
it might tie into with the narcissism that we're going to discuss later.
oh, I'm sure we can make it tie in for sure. So what did you have written down about him that you wanted to discuss?
Well, Bruce Lee, he was my idol when I was about 14, 15. And it all started when, I watched one of his films called Return of the Dragon, right? And I was so intrigued with the fight scenes, right? But I never knew that there was more than that to, this film, right? Because Bruce Lee, with the plot of the film was that he'd fly over to, where was it again? I forgot which country. But he had to help his uncle fight off these thugs that were trying to overcome his restaurant, right? So that's the first Bruce Lee movie I saw, and it was just intriguing from the fight scenes that I started to get a lot more information. I was so much interested in him, right? And at my age at that time, a lot of the other kids would be looking up to like rappers and stuff and the way they were dressing, and I just didn't like that. I was just like, why do you guys dress like? Why is your pants hanging down that low, man?
A lot of the natives still do that. At least the ones I see come in the liquor store. But anyway, that's the point.
Yeah. So then I started to learn about his other films, right? Just by watching the fight scenes and the acting in his East Asian movies. He wasn't his acting just kind of sucked, I should say. But his fight scenes were down to like everything out from every inch. So what I started to know is that Bruce Lee he never stuck to one style. He started with the Wing Chun, Kung Fu, and he was taught by Yip Man, which he was a popular instructor at that time. And then Bruce Lee started to do limited. Why am I just using these techniques and not like boxing and kickboxing like that, right? So he used to study a lot of other styles like karate, Muay Thai, kickboxing, Western boxing, fencing, and stick fighting. It's called a eskrima or a kali. Right. And what he found about the traditional styles is that, like if you ever watch Kung Fu, like a Kung Fu stylist, the way they're moving their body, they're kind of like emulating animals like a monkey and a lion, tiger, all that, right? And Bruce Lee thought, no, that stuff is not going to work in a real fight. And so he started to study other martial arts and take what's effective from all those martial arts.
Right.
and reject the other ones that are not useful, that are just kind of like, he called it a classical mess. And when he said that, other Chinese communities were, enraged at him,
Yeah.
right? And then that's when he started his own style. It was called Junfan Gung Fu, and I think it was Seattle, Washington.
That's right. I believe he did live there for.
Yeah, he lived there. I think that's where he started from, I think, when he
Yeah.
came to the U.S.
Yeah.
And there's other Chinese communities around there. And when he started advertising his style that he kind of made up, he was just like, he thought he was doing something good, but the other Chinese community started to find out. And they said, what, you're not supposed to be doing, teaching that to other races. We're more secretive than they are. So don't let out any secrets that we have. And Bruce Lee's just like, yeah, I could teach whoever wants to learn.
Right. Yeah, he was a trendsetter, right? I mean, he was a trendsetter. He took what was kind of old-fashioned and created something new.
Yeah, but he didn't, like, if you watch these karate and these kung fu stylists, the way they're doing their hand movements, like blocking, punching, in like a very robotic manner, right? And he looked at it, it's like, that's not gonna work. So like, he used those styles, like, well, he used the Wing Chun style in his movies. Because if you ever watch anything from his movies, like when the guy's coming at him, he's like moving their arms away plus punching them. That's Wing Chun, right?
Right.
And the way he died, actually, when he started to get really famous, right? He didn't know who was his friend or his enemy, because some of them would act like really nice towards him at first. Then after, they kind of like push him around.
I guess that's kind of the curse of fame to some degree.
Yeah. And so he had to defend himself sometimes. Like I remember when he was doing Enter the Dragon, that's got him international fame, that movie right there.
Yeah, oh yeah, I know that movie.
A couple of the extras would like kind of go up to him, challenge him, and they would fold their arms and tap their foot. Bruce Lee knew what they meant, right? So he had to fight a couple of those extras. I was just like, oh, why? Because I've been trying to look for footage of it, but I don't think there was.
There's no footage of those off-screen fights.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just.
Have you read books on him?
Yeah, I've read Tao of Jeet Kune Do. I still have that book since I was 16, and it's pretty interesting. I read it like 7 times.
Well, there's probably a lot of stuff on him. There's a lot of documentaries. I really don't know anything about him. He's got a huge cult following. I know of him. I don't really, I don't know too much about him to weigh in on the subject.
Yeah, everybody knows who he is, but maybe not so many people know so much in depth of.
Right. Well, that's why I'm saying he has a cult following. People that know about him, love him to death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, like, when he's getting famous and all this stuff, right? I guess the Chinese syndicate or triads, they came up to him and said, "We'd like to work with you, but we have to take some money from special projects that you were doing." And he said, "No, I don't want anything to do with you, right?" And I think he got the triads mad by rejecting them, right? Because they're kind of like organized crime. They make lots of money. And Bruce Lee is just like, he's like, no, I'm doing my own thing. And well, he grew up doing films ever since he was a kid, because his dad was a Chinese opera performer. And he would bring Bruce with him onto the set, and that's how Bruce Lee, that's how he did film work as well. He just saw it as a kid.
Right, he was around it, so that's where he fell in love with it. And figured take what he loves and put it onto film.
He grew up around it.
Yeah. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, I knew about that. I mean, I'm not that much of a stranger to Bruce Lee. Not that I'm a huge fan, but I mean, I enjoyed the films, and I think it's just circumstance I came across that book you're talking about, the Tao of Jeet Kune Do.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
I read that years and years ago.
Yeah, yeah, when I read it, it says that you're not supposed to learn kung fu from this book. You know, like no.
It's more of a book of his philosophies, really.
Oh yeah, yeah, and oh, like you ever seen the back part of it? It has that yin yang, and it has arrows. I've always wanted to get that as a tattoo, but I was like, oh, that'd be awesome. But yeah, so
well, you're also a fighter, right? Or were a fighter?
I was a boxer. Yeah, my profile pic there. That's me in the white shirt. My first fight was in Edmonton, and I went in there. I wasn't even half ready. I just went in there, and fought this 284 guy. All he was giving me one good. No, he gave me one good shot in the liver, and I went down. It's like And everybody was cheering for me, right? Yeah, you're gonna kick that guy's ass. Yes, I am. I ended up getting. Oh, and I started peeing blood after. That's what the doctor said.
Oh, that will make you stop.
Jesus.
No.
So you obviously taking blows to the kidneys, which is not what you should be doing.
No kidding, man.
No, your kidneys are in your lower back. That's
yeah, but if you're pissing blood, that's obviously you're it's either your kidneys or your bladder.
Something got nailed there.
Yeah.
Yeah, my liver. Yeah, it's on your right side of your body. Right.
Yeah, good way to lose a spleen and lose organs. Good on you.
Yeah, it's. I mean, well, to be a fighter anyway, a professional fighter. I mean, Bruce Lee wasn't really a professional fighter. He was an actor.
No. Yeah, he was an actor. He was
and a teacher,
a martial artist. Yeah, a teacher as well. Yeah, and then that kind of ties in with being a martial artist because.
How old was he when he died? 40?
No, he was 32.
Oh, that's not good.
No, and like I'm 37. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, very young.
But yeah. So he refused the triads there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess, well, in my mind, I was thinking they should, since he was almost like a scientist and a philosopher, they thought, well, let's get him back for rejecting us. And this is what I think. Okay, so he made Enter the Dragon, and he did screening for it, right? They watch it, him and the producers and whatnot, not a whole audience yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So after that, he went home and he started to work on his next film. It was called Game of Death, but he never did the whole film. He only worked on the last 3 fight scenes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I heard about that. I know that.
But the whole movie, it's not him, doing all that acting and fight scenes.
Yeah, they just put like these big ass sunglasses on some other Chinese guy.
Yeah, they all look the same, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. What are we gonna do? Bruce Lee's dead.
That's all right. Find another guy with black hair and fucking with a pan face.
Throw these glasses on him.
There you go. We'll fool everybody.
The old Texas switch.
Yeah. That's great.
Oh God. Oh, yeah.
So that was the movie he died in. So go ahead, keep going.
He didn't actually die in a movie. That's what people think still, right?
Oh.
He died. He died after he worked on the 3 scenes of Game of Death, the last fight scenes, right? And he was at this one woman's house working on the plot and the script and whatnot. And he was what he used to do to relieve stress when he was doing all this film work is I heard he was eating hash, just to relieve himself and his body to relax. And other people said that he said that, and they said that he smoked it.
Okay.
But I think if you do eat hash, you get a body stone, right? You just feel nice and relaxed.
So wait, how did he die? Get back to what you're saying. He didn't die on set. That's
Yeah,
what everybody thinks.
No, he didn't die on set. I'll get to that later. So when he was taking his hash, right, I guess the after effects is he get a little headache. So he was at this other woman's house. They were working on the plot and the scripts and whatnot. And he kept telling that woman, do you have an aspirin or anything? Because I have a headache, I can't think. And she said, yeah. She went and gave him the aspirin, and then he went to go lie down, and that's how he died. He didn't wake up.
What the
And
fuck?
that's the way I thought. Yeah, and everybody was saying that he must have got assassinated that way. Because that's what his brain swelled. It's called cerebral edema, right? It swells up and
Some Chinese Tylenol, man.
yeah. Chinese.
Don't take that shit.
Fucking got lead particles and God knows the fucking, residue.
Blood of a lizard. Yeah, so that's how he died.
Dog blood.
Yeah, and but now, like nowadays, there's like I just watched a documentary about a week ago on it, like the newest one, and that was pretty interesting. And what else was I going to say? Yeah, it's pretty interesting because people start quoting him on Facebook now, right? And they're thinking, did he really say that? Like,
So-
they're just making this up.
If he was still alive.
Yeah.
How old is he? What then?
Yeah, so
He's from 1950, right?
Kind of cut out.
they're cutting
He was
out.
pretty old. He was pretty. Sorry.
You're cutting out, Nick. Still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry. Hang on.
Yeah, no problem. While he's figuring that out, Cabin Boy, I was under the impression, I think a lot as most other people, that he was, his death that is popular is that he was shot while filming a scene. But that's all bullshit.
No, that's how his son died. His son was Brandon.
Okay.
And this was on the set of The Crow. I think it was back in 1992 or 3.
Yeah, I heard about that story.
Okay.
And I guess that curse, still lived on in their family, where they die so young. And I think Brandon was like what, 25?
Oh yeah, he was young.
Yeah, he was quite around his father's age when his father died. Yeah.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, if you watch the whole Game of Death, right, where it's not Bruce Lee doing all the acting, it's a double, right, and they don't show his face.
That's right.
But the weird thing is,
there's actually, just to interrupt for a second, man. There's a scene in that movie, because I have that film somewhere on my hard drive, but there's a scene in it where they actually use like a cutout of his face, like a cardboard cutout of his face.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm serious, man.
Yeah. You can just tell, like some scenes, they actually show that guy's face, like his double, from quite a distance, and it's like, no, his eyes are not that slant. No, that's not. And the funny thing is that as the actor, his name is Bruce Lee, and I guess he's supposed to look just like Bruce Lee, act like Bruce Lee. But the weird thing is that Game of Death, right? It's all about his life pretty much, but because there's another organized crime that was after him in the movie, right? And he said, no, I don't want to do anything with you guys. So, and the one set of the movie, within the movie, is that Bruce Lee's character is supposed to run up to the film and do a jump kick, right? And they have the cops point guns at him, right? But somebody went and slipped a real bullet instead of a blank into one of the handguns, and he got shot. So what he did in the movie is that he survived, right? And the weird thing is that Brandon Lee, his son, that's how he died. He actually died like that.
That's right, because it was part of the script of that movie.
Yeah, correct, right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So there was a real bullet in the chamber. So someone put that in there.
Yeah, somebody said, or they must have worked it out and said, okay, well, when he comes out, shoot him here, and it's the first round. And
It's like a firing squad, maybe like whoever fired the
maybe, yeah,
bullet,
yeah.
they didn't
If
know.
you ever watch the movie, if you actually watch the movie, right? I don't know if they still have the original shooting of it or if they replaced the actor or put a replacement in, with it. And like that'd be kind of cruel, right? A movie uses the way that you got killed on set, and you're like, yeah, we could use that. Like,
Yeah, that is bizarre.
Yeah, that is
yeah,
weird. That's very weird.
Surrounding Bruce Lee's death, though, was there a lot of conspiracy around it then?
yeah. Everybody was saying that he got murdered, right?
Okay.
There's rumors that he was going out with that Chinese woman that he was at, and nobody could get at him at the time because he didn't want nobody to know he was there or something like that, right?
Okay.
And other people were saying that, like what I said, he used to eat hashish and made his brain swell when he took the pill, But
Maybe
that,
maybe it was laced with something. You really don't know.
yeah, because he probably never looked at it. He just,
Smoked it.
so tired. No, I don't know if he smoked hash or ate it, but the counter thing that happened towards his death was that pill that woman gave him, right? I mean, she could have.
It sounds like he was poisoned, man.
Poisoned, yeah. That's what it sounds like. Did they do an autopsy? I mean,
I think, yeah, they did autopsy. The first thing that showed up was his cerebral edema or brain swelling, right? And I guess that shuts down everything.
Yeah, that just doesn't happen.
yeah. There's got to be like
I have to look more into it, but it's something definitely worth looking into. I mean, like you said, if he was fucking some chick that some mafia guy I wanted to sleep with,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of those type yakuzis, maybe those are the Japanese ones. I really don't know.
Yeah,
triads. Those are the Chinese.
Triads, yeah, like these triad guys and most people in most mafias, they're very childish. They're very jealous and territorial, and if a chick doesn't want to fuck one of them, they'll kill her. That's how these guys operate. So it's it could be that, it could be how popular it was, people getting jealous, so on and so forth. So yeah, I mean, it seems no one dies at 32 at the peak of their career unless they have some other issues, but it doesn't sound like he had those problems.
Well,
the funny thing is that Chuck Norris
ahead.
is still alive. Okay, Chuck Norris is still alive, and him and Bruce Lee did the last fight scene for Return of the Dragon.
That's right. Chuck Norris was in that one,
and
he didn't have a beard at that time.
That's a great scene where Bruce Lee rips off his chest hair in the middle of the fight.
I know, and he blows it off his hand. I used to do that to cats when I was younger. I don't know why.
Wow. Goddamn One Nationer. Did you try scalping it too and fucking it?
No, well that's
you fucking trying to make the moccasins out of it?
You stuck a funnel down its throat and force-fed it vodka.
No, I wouldn't do that to a poor cat.
It's a warm hole. It's lonely up there, One Nation.
Yeah, it gets cold.
The room smells like
Well,
it's funny.
Those kind of mafia guys, those are definitely, that's the opposite of MGTOW. I mean,
does that really tie into the narcissism? I can't talk.
What for Bruce Lee?
Well, no, for the like these triads and these organized crime people.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. You're dead. You're hitting the target saying that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because I was just thinking, like, if indeed that was he was murdered and it was by these kind of types of people. Yeah, they're definitely, they are
narcissists.
Yeah, they're on the complete opposite end of kind of behavior that you typically find from a MGTOW philosophy, but definitely leans towards sort of a narcissist or a psychopathy as well, maybe.
Yes, it would be one or the other. Especially with guys in if they're in the mafia or whatever. The movie Goodfellas, right, guys?
I've heard of it. I
Mhm.
never watched it.
It's a great movie. I've seen it like God over 100 times. But those guys, we in America they glorify Goodfellas, especially in New York because it happened pretty close to my home and everything. And mostly all of them were Italian Americans. They have the picture of Robert De Niro and not Al Pacino, sorry, Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta, and Joe Pesci. But in the real fact is who those guys are and what they did. They were abused as children. Robert De Niro's character is called Jimmy the Gent. His real name's Jimmy Burke, and he was adopted. He was sexually abused. He was in the car with his stepmother when they crashed the car. The mother died, and what happened in the car was the stepfather was beating him. The stepfather was in the front seat and would lean back and start punching Jimmy in the face. And while the father was punching him, the mother crashed the car, and the foster mother died. And he was in and out of foster homes. I mean, these guys had horrible, traumatizing, traumatic childhoods that led them to become criminals.
So, this is what happened in the movie?
No, this is the real life. These guys played.
Oh, okay, because they were. Oh, okay, I see. Okay, I'm not.
You understand
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
It's not the movie. These are who they're portraying. And again, we're all like, yeah, Robert De Niro, he was so great in that movie and everything. Like, hold on. You have to understand who he's portraying. He's portraying Jimmy the Gent. He's called the Gent because when he used to rob people, he would give them like money or like taxi money. Like, oh, I'm stealing your truck, but here's like $5 to go get a taxi. That's why they called him a gentleman. But these guys had horrible, traumatizing childhoods that led them to being mafioso.
Mm-hmm. So, because we're kind of now that we're drifting into your topic, just to let the listeners know, Nick approached me and he sent me some videos too, to watch based on narcissism and psychopathy. But why don't you go ahead and tell the listeners what got you into the topic?
Oh, hey, give me 1 second. I'm about to spark a cigarette. Now, how much do you guys know about these topics? Like before I get started.
You know what? I just Googled both definitions, right? Because when I used to watch wrestling, there's one wrestler called the Narcissist, and he would have all these mirrors.
And what does he do?
And he flexes in front of them, right? And there's fireworks going off.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well,
yeah, that would be called a somatic narcissist. Those are ones that are obsessed with their bodies and stuff. Usually, homosexuals are somatic narcissists.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, that was mentioned in one of the videos you sent me. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's a different type of narcissism, and I don't want to veer off too far off the beaten path, but yeah, usually homosexuals have a really, really bad personality disorders. They're just shameless. They just do it. They're all out in the open, and you have to they go into
bullies.
What happened with that? They're bullies. Correct. That's exactly what they are. Good way of putting it. So they like that thing that happened in Indiana with the baking the gay cake.
Mm-hmm.
I'm stepping into your place, and you're going to do as I say.
Yeah. Yeah, and if the shoe's on the other foot, it would never happen.
Well, then they're a victim. They're special.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
They're special. They're an endangered species in North America, the homosexual.
So why don't you go in, just kind of introduce it by how you got into the topic?
Well, the first was a girl with narcissistic personality disorder, and it was a real wake-up call for me because we tend to throw the term psychopath and narcissist around quite a lot in today's culture. But what does it actually mean? Just because someone acts like a narcissist doesn't mean they have a personality disorder. And in fact, in America, we tend to have narcissistic personality traits, but it doesn't necessarily mean we have a problem. We're militantly individualistic. We're selfish. We're greedy. It's all about me, me, me. I'm my own little world, my own little castle. I'm a movie star in my own fucking suburb, or if you're living in Manhattan, I've made it. This Audrey Hepburn fucking wet dream women have, you know. But
A lot of hedonism.
so I had a yeah, exactly. So I started researching it because I became infatuated with a girl with this type of personality disorder, and there was that. That's where I became fascinated with it. And after I stopped working with her, I kind of like forgot about it or whatever. But then she was a coworker of mine. And then when I went to camp,
were you attracted to her? Or no.
oh, she was really hot. She was bad hot.
Oh, okay.
But she was really attractive. But she had this aura about her, like it was a negative force. No, she was very attractive. But she was there was a negative force field around her. It was an animal instinct to tell me to stay away from her. I became like obsessed. Or not infatuated, but kind of obsessed. Like, why did my instincts tell me to stay away from this girl? And sure enough, curiosity killed the cat, and I got stuck with her as a codependent, and it became really traumatizing to be stuck to a codependent that you work with and you see day in and day out, because then it becomes a huge fucking mind fuck game.
You didn't have a relationship with her outside of work, did you?
No.
Okay.
Did you
hang on a second? Yeah, sorry. I was the windows open. Anyway.
Did you pull out?
So then, no. I never slept with her or anything. It just was a code.
Oh, okay.
She yeah, no. It became a really like a childish game. Back and forth. But anyway, I veering off that, I wanted to now touch a little bit on psychopaths. Sure. They're a little bit different. Now, fast forward, God, 4 or 5 years later, my coworker, my boss actually, was a psychopath, and psychopaths are bullies. Now, you have to understand what psychopathy is a person without a conscience. Do you know what that means?
That means like they have a mental illness or a disorder or something wrong upstairs.
You know that little voice in your head that tells you right from wrong?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Like don't do that.
You don't have that. So for the listeners to understand, you have to understand. So when you say the word psychopath, you're talking about someone that has no voice in their head to tell them right or wrong.
Yeah, they're conscious.
That describes a lot of women I've known.
Yeah,
women usually are not psychopaths. It's rare for a woman to be a psychopath. Usually a woman that either has borderline personality disorder or histrionic personality disorder.
Okay.
And histrionic is kind of like a Kim Kardashian. That's more or less what that type of person is. So let me before I get too lost in what I'm saying, let me pull up what I've written. Hang on. And I've written here a list. I don't want to. It's a bit of a long list. Give me a second here.
That's fine.
Okay. I'll read the top 14 how to spot either a narcissist or psychopath. The first one is cigarettes. They smoke a lot of cigarettes. They usually chain smoke. So both the psychopath and narcissist cigarette. They're usually chain smokers, perhaps 2 to 3 an hour, and they don't look like they enjoy smoking cigarettes either. It's more of a routine tick. They may offer you a smoke, but don't expect them to smoke one with you. You may stand next to them, but they do not acknowledge your presence, even after they had just given you a cigarette. All right. So let's say you go outside and smoke a cigarette with them. You know, usually you talk, you chat, like you're smoking peace pipe, right? But they don't see it that way. So you'll just stand right next to them, and they won't acknowledge your presence. The other one is substance abuse. In confluence with cigarette smoking, look for any kind of substance abuse, habitual marijuana smoking, abusing prescription pills and alcohol. Also, when abusing substances, their personality doesn't change,
well, I'm sure
which is kind of strange.
If you look at their fingers and they're quite yellow or black, brown, yeah, of course there's something wrong.
Regardless, when someone smokes cigarettes, especially in North America, it's already a telltale sign there's usually a problem. So they're either they used to abuse drugs when they were younger, right? They were heroin addicts when they were younger, or drinkers. They usually that's their vice now, is to offset the drugs. They kind of like a rehab kind of a thing. They tend to smoke cigarettes. So when you usually meet people in North America that smoke cigarettes, Europe is a different story because that's part of their culture, smoking cigarettes. But in America, if a woman is smoking cigarettes, run for the fucking hills.
What hills do we have to
One
run
away.
Yeah.
to? Hey, Ayam, what hills do we have to run to?
Fuck, I don't know. Big Chief Mountain.
No, that's way
All right.
too far.
So number
All
3
right.
is little to no social media. A true narcissist won't be on Facebook since Facebook isn't about them. Okay?
What? I thought
Why
it's
should it be?
all about
What?
them.
No, see, that's wrong. Because both the narcissist, this girl was beautiful. She didn't have any social media.
Wow.
Part of the reason why she didn't have it was because she had skeletons in her closets, and she didn't want any of those skeletons come out. Right, so she's burning bridges. She burnt a lot of bridges and deaded the whole world.
Right.
Okay, so I found that to be really shitty. I go, wait a second, this girl is really hot. How does she not have a Facebook like every other fucking hot chick? Sure
Did
enough.
she have so she must have had a cell phone.
Oh yeah, she had a phone for sure.
Was it up to date?
Yeah, she had a phone and everything, but she needed to talk to somebody because again, she needs to feed her narcissistic supply. Usually her mother, me as a coworker, other coworkers, the conversation would always come no matter what. If you're trying to talk to her about something, some way or another, the conversation is going to loop back to her.
Back to her,
And it's quite amazing how their conversation, you be talking about your life experience and telling her something about you, and somehow the conversation will revert right back to her.
and she probably have no interest in what you say, right? She's just like,
Was she on Tinder?
Well, anyway, the reason no, this is pre-Tinder. This is going back, almost 10 years now.
Okay.
what's Tinder?
Yeah, so
Stay away from
they
it,
don't
man.
have social. So they don't have Facebook or anything like that. I don't friend request you. You friend request me. So they'll be on Facebook and they won't reach out to you. You see what I'm saying? They're not going to make the effort to gain you over. You have to win them over. So again, if they have Facebook, and the reason why they don't have Facebook is because it forces a narcissist to engage with other people. It doesn't want to do that because I'm better than you. You come talk to me. You see how it works?
Yeah.
And right. This is how women operate. Am I correct? They're not going to make the first, effort to come and talk to you. You got to go and talk to them. But it's exaggerated when they have a personality disorder like NPD. I'm going to use the word NPD as short for narcissistic personality disorder. So just try to stay on. A psychopath won't be on social media because a psychopath doesn't need attention. It doesn't need people. It's like a cat. It's like a fish. A psychopath does not need people. Only reason why a psychopath needs a person is usually for their own gratification, usually financial or sex or drugs or something they want. It's never out of kindness of their heart. So the reason why Facebook...
Like, what if the girl's like
what?
starving? Like, what if, like you said, the woman would be using people for like money and like drugs and sex and all that. But what about groceries? You ever heard of like a woman sleeping with a man just to get groceries?
Well, yeah, that's them bartering their pussy to get resources, but that's not this, right? But a narcissist is going to be isn't looking for resources. A narcissist is looking for attention, and this goes back to women's narcissism, where it's not about hypergamy, guys. It's just ignore the fucking bitch. That's all you have to do with it. With a narcissist and women, it boils down to attention. Don't give them attention.
Yeah.
But a narcissist needs attention before anything else. It lives off of attention, right?
Yeah.
Selfie. I need to take more selfies. I need more people to talk to. Right. You you discard people once they run out of their, out of attention supply using that person. Once the codependent, such as myself, doesn't give the attention it requires anymore, it withers and dies away. The narcissist.
Right.
Okay, so that's number 3, no social media. So if you bump into a person that doesn't have any social media, that's a red flag, especially in this day and age.
Okay.
I thought like when girls say that, like girls, there's a couple girls that told me that. They're like, I don't like Facebook. I don't like Facebook. And they're like, why?
I'm full of shit.
Really? They're saying
Full of shit. I'm not really on Facebook. I'm not really doing that. I'm cool. I'm cool. I can hang out. I can just chill with you.
Yeah, because I thought
I like football.
Like the older ones, when they say, "Oh, I'm not on Facebook," It's like, well, how come you're not on there? And she's like, I don't know how to use a computer. I'm like, you're that old, or
So again,
better.
that's a red flag. That's number 3. Let's move on. Number 4, lack of facial expression and long intent glare. I would say this is the creepiest part of dealing with either a psychopath or a narcissist, is the long gaze that doesn't break. They'll just look at you like a robot, like a doll. It's pretty fucking creepy. It's the brow doesn't lift. They don't look surprised. They don't get loud. Well, a narcissist will get loud. A psychopath doesn't get loud unless you're confronting them about something, and it usually escalates really, really rapidly. With a psychopath, it became almost like you're going to get into a physical fight with them. With a narcissist, it's just them flailing and gaining more attention from the people around them, right? So that one's pretty weird. Number 5 is gullibility. Despite how intelligent and charming they may seem, they do not understand sarcasm. They are easily tricked, even at the most obvious and ridiculous. You will catch yourself thinking, did he or she really just believe what I just said? So my coworkers, I was on a construction site, and I would tell my site supervisor, "Oh, hey, watch this! I'm going to trick the boss. Hey, did you hear about the moon's going to crash into the Earth?" What, really? Oh my God. And mind you, this guy was really, really intelligent. He spoke more than one language. He had his own business. He knew what he was talking about. He was a fairly bright person, but really, really gullible. And that struck me as like really strange. I go, this guy really just believed that. Like, is he fucking retarded? So that was really strange.
I'm just gonna use a quick bathroom break. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go ahead.
6 is the codependent, you being the one that's near the psychopath or narcissist. You will catch yourself thinking of that person more often in ways how to appease them, how to make them happy. Again, I don't really require to making my father happy all the time, or my brother, or my friends. But for whatever reason, when you're cohabitating with a psychopath or a narcissist, you'll start thinking about that person quite often, and you're going to be like, well, maybe if I do this for her, she will do this, or XYZ, or if I come in early for my boss, it'll make him happy. You see what I'm saying? And you start doing that over and over and over. It's kind of like psychological warfare on yourself, so to speak.
Okay.
All right. Number 7, they have no sense of humor. If they laugh, it's a quip, insincere chortle, or perhaps a laugh with no sound, like a mime. Like they'll smile, like, hey. I can't really describe it because I'm on audio, but they'll look like they're about to laugh and smile, like, hey, yeah, that was funny, but it's not real. It's fake usually.
Do they actually kind of like fake the laugh, like, oh, ha, 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 ha.
Right, yeah, exactly. They'll smile, and like I said, they'll mime it, they mimic you, because again, they're especially with a psychopath, the only way they can bounce back and forth from you, it's like a robot, like, ha ha, I got it, funny. But or they'll make a joke, and it's usually very awkward and strange. And usually, what's the word I'm saying? No empathy, just no empathy.
Right.
Like they'll say something like what did he do that was really strange? Oh, if one of the coworkers got hurt, okay, I'm like, oh shit, he's really hurt, he's got to go to the hospital. He goes, oh good, I don't have to pay him. They'll say shit like that and be like, wait a second, this guy's fucking hurt. Did you just say that you don't have to pay him? And he's dead serious. He's looking at through a numbers from a financial standpoint, thinking like, this guy's dead weight, I don't really fucking need him, and just get him out of here. I'm not going to follow up and see if he's doing better, or if he's seriously injured or not.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Okay. If you guys get lost at any point, just let me know.
Keep going.
What point are you on? Number 9?
I'm number 8 now. This was another really good one. An obvious effort to be kind. Actions we may perceive as being considerate or gentle, they would need confirmation and affirmation of those actions, no matter how insignificant. Look at me. Are you looking? Because you better be. Can't you see I'm playing with children? Look at me. I'm kind. I'm friendly. Please acknowledge I'm being kind and friendly. So there's an obvious effort to show that they're normal.
Right.
Okay, and again, things that me and you would be like, oh yeah, good, you're playing with kids. Who gives a flying fuck? But they need to know that you're paying attention to them,
Right.
and that's for both of them. They both engage in that type of behavior with the obvious efforts to be kind. 9 was unreliable, completely unreliable. Calling in sick from work if it's an employee, not answering the phone, emails, or messages if it's an employer. Right, just completely unreliable. So like they would, my boss would just be drunk, and then he would just not show up the next day to work. And and you have to be on your tippy toes come the following day if he shows up. So little things like that. The girl, the coworker, she would just, I don't feel good. I don't feel like coming to work. Just fuck responsibility. I don't really give a shit.
Mm.
Okay. 10 doesn't celebrate holidays. That's another big red flag. A narcissist will celebrate holidays when it pertains to them. Example, Christmas dinner is at my house. It's my birthday. It's my wedding. Okay? So if the holiday doesn't pertain to them, they're not going to engage in it, because again, the holiday is about everyone. It's about everyone sharing, not about you and whatever it is you're doing. Okay? And again, the psychopath just doesn't even know what that means, a holiday. It doesn't understand this, because there's no emotional connection to it, because they have no emotions, because they have no empathy, because they have no conscience.
Hmm.
Okay. So that doesn't celebrate holidays. 11, questioning your own sanity, you as a person. This is called gaslighting. Do you guys know what gaslighting
Oh,
is?
gaslighting is huge in
No,
MGTOW circles,
no.
man.
Yes, you
Anybody,
get gaslighted.
yeah, anybody in that's listening now that's followed me and they're MGTOW, they know what gaslighting is. Why don't you explain it to Cabin Boy?
Yeah.
Gaslighting is when you start questioning your own insanity. I'm not crazy. You're the crazy one. Look at you.
Oh,
Look at how you're carrying on right now. There's nothing wrong with me. Does everyone see how crazy he's acting right now? It's not me. I'm innocent. I'm the victim.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's
oh.
huge. It's huge in MGTOW circles because you see a lot of this.
How many times
Vic-
did you say I in that sentence?
I'm sorry.
You're right. Well, again, it's about them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, but how many times did you say I or me?
That's right.
That's what I usually look for. If a woman keeps saying me, I, they're kind of like looping themselves, right?
But again, I want to reiterate what I was saying before.
Mm-hmm.
A woman doesn't mean she has a personality disorder. We're talking about the disorder, not the
Yeah,
person, not the
exactly.
individual's traits. Women tend to be narcissistic no matter what, until when they have a baby, and then it completely fucking stops, because they realize, oh shit, I gotta feed this fucking little animal here.
Well, some
It
women
changes.
do.
It changes the whole concept. And mind you, you're again trying to fuck a 24-year-old, right? So obviously, it's going to always be about them. Okay, so they have no other way of reciprocating, asking questions about you and your well-being, because her entire life as a little princess, it's about her and her dreams and her fantasies.
Well, another thing is in the modern age, I would say especially that women tend to even the idea of becoming pregnant doesn't necessarily change that anymore, especially if you count how many unborn kids are fucking aborted every day.
Oh
You know,
yeah, that's a whole different gig. Forget the fucking baby. But again, now what you're describing now is cultural narcissism, not so
mm,
much the individual, because now we've let that cat out of the bag with the abortions.
I
Okay, so
wanted to
oh,
get into
forget.
that actually. I was going to ask you about that, but can carry on and we'll drift into that.
Well, we could talk a little bit about that. The thing with the aborting the baby is we've now conditioned women in saying that it's your right,
Mm,
that you can do it, and it, I'm a kind of I'm a guy, so I really shouldn't have any say or weigh in those type of things with the abortion, because I'm not carrying a baby. But you've now conditioned women where a life, at least a life that's not really conscious or anything, of just killing it,
yeah, yeah,
right? And now we can, now the frog's boiling in the water. Okay, now it's going to start boiling more and more. Well, you know what? Maybe the little kid, he can die too, or my husband can die. I don't really care about him
right.
either. You
That's
see,
right.
so it keeps growing and manifesting itself in that type of malignancy of being unempathetic. Me and you talked about this, 2 weeks ago or last week, where we're now conditioning our society to become more psychopathic.
Yeah.
Right. And it's getting worse and worse as we go on.
Well, that's
and all these things that but all these things we're talking about right here, this list here, it does sound like an American culture, does it not?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
I was going to get into that with you and ask, like, can this sort of behavior be conditioned? You know.
Oh, absolutely. Look at Nazi Germany.
Just
Look at Nazi Germany as a perfect example. The whole society was, we got to kill Jews. We're all in agreement about it, right? And just go march on, and just keep, and just like a machine, go on and on and on. You know, one thing, you know who the Gestapo is, right?
Not me. No.
You know, the Gestapo was the SS police, the Nazi police.
Oh, damn.
Right?
Modern day, you mean the modern day American Gestapo? Who are there?
No. I'm talking about the German SS police were called the Gestapo. Now, how did they go about and actually just killing all these innocent people? How did they get it done? What goes on in their minds? Well, during boot camp, how they were conditioned was they would have in the barracks, they would have a puppy, a German Shepherd, and they would raise it, they would give it names, and it was part of the group of like 20, 30 guys, and that was the mascot for the group of guys. You understand what I'm saying? Like for this a platoon of men, they had a dog with a name, they fed it, it was part of the clan, right? And what would happen was, once the dog got a little bit older, and as the battalion was about to graduate, the sergeant would shoot the dog right in front of the guys.
Oh, come on.
Right.
What for?
And then they would be the conditioning of the Gestapo. So they shoot the dog. The sergeant would shoot the dog, and the guys would be hysterical, crying and freaking out. As soon as they shot that dog, you know what the sergeant did?
He ate.
Give him another dog.
Oh.
And do it all over again. Raise it. Be one of your clan. Be one of your guys. Shoot the dog again. Shoot the second dog.
What?
And that's how they condition the Gestapo to be able to take other people's lives.
Yeah, because you have to drive the empathy out of a human being to really have them do
correct
kind of acts. Yeah.
Right. So how did Nazi Germany, even Soviet Union or Pol, the Khmer Rouge for that matter, they all had different ways of doing it depending on the cultural barriers and other things about it. Cambodia was a different case. We can talk about that another time, because that's opened another fucking rabbit hole. Well, for Western societies, that was one way of doing it.
Yeah, and I wanted to add to that is that in the modern times, I feel that and I think a lot of people would agree that a lot of women nowadays lack empathy, and they're often traditionally seen as empathic creatures, but not today. And I think feminism as a Gestapo drove a lot of empathy out of modern day women, like to really have that many women who, and I guarantee you, any woman that's ever had an abortion, she's going to say she's a feminist, regardless of what she believes it is. And
that's quite right. Yeah.
I really think, the direction that I have gone as a person, as a human being, as a man, have seen that. And I said, look, a lot of females in modern American Western culture they lack empathy anymore. There's nothing empathic about them anymore.
Well, again, I can't say that for older women. Okay? I'm regulating this conversation as far as that. The only time I see that, at least because we see there's a generation difference and a generation gap. So you see women that are 40 plus, they don't really act like that.
Yeah.
So it's really we can't see what this generation between the ages of, let's say, 30 and under, and what they're going to bring come 40, 50 years old. They usually a woman changes, usually because they're not really attractive anymore. They already had a kid, or they're already married, so on and so forth. They don't tend to have those type of things, because once they have a baby, they have no choice but to have empathy for it, unless they already have some type of predisposed issues and personality disorders. But again, just because we're talking about the cultural psychopathy of the country doesn't necessarily mean the individual is going to have the same problems.
Well, if you take into account the damage that single motherhood has caused, I would say that women aren't, especially today, they aren't really equipped, even with the whole, uh, you know, connection to the child. They're not really.
Well, they're not having
A
children,
lot of them
so
are.
it doesn't, yeah, so they're just dying off. And again, that's just
What
the
about these?
decline of a society.
Mm.
What about these women that just have, say, like 6 kids from 6 other guys,
Oh,
right?
that's a stray
Mm.
cat, man. That's a disgusting animal.
Yeah,
No.
that's like, yeah, and of course they're not going to show empathy.
That's not normal behavior, regardless of whether their upbringing was. There's obviously they were born genetically, or there's some type of other problem where they think it's okay to have 6 kids. Two baby daddies, okay, maybe I can kind of work with that. But when you're
Yeah.
you're venturing into 3 or 4, but those women, there's not that many. There's
Well, there's a
what's the
lot.
percentage of women that actually engage in that?
There's a
That's
lot
just,
in the black
you know,
community in the States.
oh yeah,
Okay, but again, black. Well, now we're venturing into biology. I'm not going to open that because then we're going to
yeah.
veer
You
into
could just
really
watch the Maury
bad
show.
talk.
You could just
But
watch the
black people like
Maury.
to have sex. But black people are more open about sex. They don't really they twerk, they get naked, they have a good time. Black
They have
black
chicken,
women they're not as
barb.
there's no rigid edicts with them. They just want to have a good time and fuck. And they just boil it down to just basic animal instincts. I want to procreate.
Yeah.
Women want to procreate.
Well,
A white woman says, I want a Rolls Royce. I want an Apple phone, the newest one, i10. Black women don't look at it like that. They're just like, yo, I got to reproduce to survive, so to speak.
So that's like a comparison to like Taylor Swift and what's that one girl's name? Uh,
mm.
she's a black girl. She's a rapper type of.
Nicki
Nicki
Minaj,
Minaj.
Foxy Brown.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
she,
her. Yeah, because
is
I
she
saw
is she black?
both
I
of her
thought she was
videos.
like Indian or something.
Yeah,
Who the fuck
no,
knows?
yeah, she looks black, and the way she sounds and her slang is like black. I'm like, yeah, she's got to be, a sister, just like
Yeah, well,
Beyonce.
all right, so let's
But
get back. I got
Yeah,
what do
let's
I
go
got?
back.
3 or 4 more here.
Back to the
Okay, so we'll go back to the question of your own insanity, gaslighting. If you guys want to know what gaslighting is, wiki it. It's right there. You'll
yeah.
figure it out. Okay. 12
okay,
is looking for pity. Looking for pity. Now, if you were to meet the devil, do you know what the first thing the devil's going to ask from you is your pity and your
yeah,
sympathy for him. Feel bad for me, right? No one understands me, right? Is a line I heard repeatedly from the narcissistic. I'm really not a bitch. You just haven't given me a chance,
Mm-hmm.
right? These were type of lines that she would quite often repeat over and over and over again. My psychopathic boss he said, "Do you need the money that badly?" He was supposed to pay me, and he says you were short on cash
Mm,
when I know he has money. Those are the type of things he would tend to do. But he broke the contract that we signed upon for he's supposed to pay me this amount for this amount of time, so on and so forth. And he would constantly break his own agreements.
right.
That was okay. Where are we? Constantly on the move. Their attention span is brief, and they cannot stay. They cannot stay in one place for a long period. They will say, "I'm busy. I have to go," and I'm in a rush quite frequently. So they don't. They have like ADHD. The both of them.
but where are they
The
going?
It could be anywhere. They can't engage in conversation too long. A psychopath cannot engage in conversation too long because he doesn't know how to communicate because he doesn't have a conscience. Okay. So, like, if I'm doing a presentation or a speech, he'll say, "All right, Nick, go ahead and talk about this topic." He would get up and walk out of the room.
Hmm.
Right. I'm like, wait a
Oh,
second. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, he'll do things, weird things like that. Or if I'm trying to have a conversation about work or something, if
yeah.
it doesn't pertain to him, it doesn't matter to him, he would just walk away. Yeah, I gotta go. Bye. Just out of nowhere, just constantly like that, which is really strange. The narcissistic girl would be long-winded. She would go on and on and on and on about
Herself.
nothing. There's no conversation just about her. She would never ask about you or how you're doing or how's your well-being, something like that. She just wouldn't do it. 15. Let's see. 15. Oh,
How many is there?
this is called. I kept adding to the list. I got what? How many more? 2 more.
Okay.
Limited time horizon.
What's that?
A limited time horizon. They live in the present, and it's infinite. It's about what you can do for them. It's not about what you could do for them yesterday or what you can do for them tomorrow. It's what you can do for me right now.
What have you done for me lately? That's
What have you done for me? You got it. You got it. You hit it right on the head. That's right. I don't care about what you did for me yesterday. That was yesterday. I don't care about what you promised me for tomorrow. It's right now. Can you give me attention right now? And can you make me money right now? Same thing where their substance abuse comes from. Okay, oh, I need to have Coke. I need Coke. I need a cigarette. I need a substance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and a lot of them tend to not live live long at all. They tend to die relatively young. Short lifespan, right? From the constant need for thrillment, for thrill seeking. They constantly are thrill seeking. My psychopathic boss, he traveled around the world. He jumped out of airplanes. He scuba dived. He kept doing all these fucking crazy things. And I'm like, hey, wow, that's pretty cool. You did all those things. And he has no real recollection of him doing those things. He goes, yeah, I did it. I go, yeah, but that's pretty amazing. Yeah,
so
I
it
guess.
wasn't like an experience for him. It was just a drive, kind of.
Just a drive right then and there. And again, because of the limited time horizon, he cannot recall the emotion he had when he actually did those things.
Interesting.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is exactly what it is. Pure and simple, plain and simple. I'm trying to make it as basic for people to understand where I'm trying to come from. Now, again, I've had this conversation. I've shown this list to other people, and then that's not true. I knew a psychopath who didn't smoke cigarette, who didn't smoke or didn't drink, and I get it. I'm sharing my observation because I've dealt with two of them already, and both the two of them had these problems.
Well, it sounds like
same problems.
It sounds like it would be very difficult to form a relationship with a psychopath or a narcissist.
Why come we just can't roll a joint and give it to them? Say, here, puff on this. You don't have to start.
Yeah, but it's not going to change their. It's not going to change the psychodynamic makeup of their fucking brain.
Yeah.
Well, I think.
All right, and I already said that. I think in number 2 or 3 is that even when you give them a substance, it doesn't change them whatsoever. So he can be pissed drunk, he's still the same person, which is really creepy about them.
That is weird, yeah.
Very weird.
So
they'll be a little bit more, maybe they'll be a little bit more reckless. Like the girl will be in a gangbang because she was drunk, But then again, we'll have no record. I'm serious, man. We'll have no recollection of it the next day.
Film it?
They're very easy. They're very easy to sleep with. Mm-hmm. Whether a psychopath or narcissist, especially if it's a woman, real easy to get in the sack. Super easy.
So
really,
just
easy.
Like if you meet up with a girl, at Soundgarden, and she says, "Okay, we're gonna go to bed," just like that, and I was like, "I only had one beer with you."
You want to fuck me already?
Yeah, that's not normal.
Yeah, that's not normal, man.
What?
That's the kind of woman you want to stay away from.
Okay, well, yeah, I met up with a couple of them, and when they do that, you haven't talked to them for like half hour, and they're like, "Yeah, we could go to bed."
Well,
right. Well, they engage in thrill-seeking, reckless behavior. The both of them.
Mm-hmm. Ask them if they have a dad. Say, who's your daddy?
Well, this goes back to a lot with okay. Now,
can you tell these guys just one joke?
Sure,
go for it.
Okay, so I'm going out with this native girl and spanking her ass, and I was saying that, right? I was like, "Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?" And she slowly turned around and she said, "I don't know."
That's bad.
That works for native too, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, what you just mentioned though is the difference between psychopaths and sociopaths. Do you know what the difference is?
No.
Okay, well, they're both colloquial terms. They both stand for antisocial personality disorder, but a sociopath is one that is groomed to be a psychopath, not born as a psychopath.
Okay. Right.
Oh, yeah. like
Okay,
peer
so a
pressure.
psychopath is one that's born with the disorder. A sociopath is one that's conditioned
So that's
to
what I
be a
mean.
psychopath.
That's what I meant to say originally. Then was I think most women are sociopaths.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be but again, they both mean they're interchangeable. There's a lot of debates about what's the difference between the two. I've kind of boiled it down to sociopath is one that is conditioned, a psychopath is one that was born from the biology, the genetics of the parents.
What about like
Okay.
is it from peer pressure as well? Like their friends say their friends were born like that, right? Would they pass it on to their friends that they're closely
Well,
related
yeah,
to?
but if the person you're hanging out with is reckless, you're gonna two birds of a feather flock together. So I had one
Yeah.
friend growing up who was definitely a full-fledged psychopath, and he would just rob and steal everybody's stuff. And sure enough, some of the friends would be like, "Yo, that's really cool. I want to do it too." And this goes back to women wanting to fuck psychopaths so bad because they break the social norm. They think
Yeah.
that's hot. Women love drug addicts. Why? Because he's not a square.
Mama's boy.
He's not
Yeah.
he's not right. He's not at home baking cookies with mom and watching Super Bowl Sunday or whatever. He's out there
Going to
selling
church.
crack. And I
Yeah.
want that crack.
Yeah.
Right? So right. So I touched on the thrill seeking. That was actually one of the bigger
Oh,
topics. The other ones were no friends or family.
No
They
friends or
have no
family.
friends or family.
mhm.
Well,
No friends or
I
family.
was just I was gonna add that actually. Earlier, I said it must be hard for them to keep and maintain relationships.
They can't.
So, yeah.
They
So
can't do it.
I think the average person might not have a lot of experience with these kind of people. You know.
No, that's why I wanted to say we abuse the terms psychopath and narcissist when in fact it's very rare to actually bump into these people. And I got two of them in my life, and that's why I made this list.
So, well, what I'm gonna do is I'll probably listen to this stream tomorrow or the next day. I was just gonna like jot down like the numbers what you just said there. Right?
Well, do you have those numbers on in a link or something that you could send to him?
Well, I was going to put it on a website, which eventually I will do once I get this writing is a little bit fine tuning. But I advise anybody to go to my personal favorite intellectual. He's written the book called Malignant Self-Love: Narcissism Revisited. He has a channel. His name's Sam Vatkin. So just type in Sam Narcissist, and his YouTube channel will pop right up. And I've read all of his books, and that's he helped coach me with a lot of my writing, and his writing helped me deal with these people in my life. So I definitely highly recommend his channel.
All right, I'll add that in the show notes too later when this thing's done.
Do you guys
All right,
know
cool.
the opposite of this narcissism from
A
women? Do you
normal person.
Normal
yeah,
person.
ever came across them? Just to put it out there.
Well, it's a little bit like what we were talking about Indonesia.
Mm.
How you can just go to your neighbor's house and kill your neighbor. He's a commie. That's a form of psychopathy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's again, like you said, it's a real serious lack of empathy. Like you just cannot feel for other people.
Yeah.
You don't have that capacity to just. For most people, it's like you cringe when you think about hurting someone, right?
Yeah.
One way or another.
Oh, they abuse animals. The two of them.
That's right.
The two of them abuse animals. Here's something really cool to know about a psychopath. If you think you have a psychopath on your hands, find out if they have any pets. They usually don't have pets, especially dogs. They hate fucking. No, I'm sorry. No. They hate cats. Why do you think they hate cats so much?
Why?
Because a cat is a reflection of them.
Oh, I don't like cats though.
A cat, but cats don't care about you.
I love cats.
Well, they're good. That's normal. But cats don't need attention.
Right.
They're narcissists. A cat is a narcissist. Pet me, feed me, fuck off.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So they hate cats. What they do love though, ready for what their favorite is? Fish.
Oh.
Okay, aquarium.
You can't pet fish.
Because they're dead. They're as A fish is as dead as them inside.
Yeah, but like, I hate when people call
I'm
fish
serious,
pet.
man.
You
She's
can't
a
reach
dead
your
fish.
hand in there. You can't just reach in there and start petting a fish.
Right. Well, the same goes for a snake. They like snakes. They like reptiles because they're. It's a mimic. It's what they are. Just animals. You know. They just hate. They hate. You know, being alive or whatever. Not being alive. I'm sorry. The I don't know what I'm trying to say, but they have a they like fish because you know that's what they are. They're like robots. These
Wandering
people.
around, yeah, in the same circle and the same
Yeah.
aquarium. Oh.
Also, a psychopath isn't fully aware they're a psychopath. They'll completely deny it. Why do you think most people on death row say they didn't do it? Because they really believe they didn't do it. They had no choice but to do it. When they kill someone, that person was in their way to get to something.
What about well, my cousin, he's kind of in those lines of what you said about this, and he kind of he they keep throwing him in jail and he gets out, right? Ayam, if you ever read the newspaper 2 weeks ago, he was in there, right? He beat up or his girlfriend, and he beat up some guy because there's no reason, he just beat him up, and they put him in jail for 3 months.
Does he go into the liquor store?
I think he's banned from some of them because he steals, right? And
Be Good 4000 is a great channel. Someone just mentioned Be Good 4000. Fantastic channel. Highly recommend that channel also. Good. I'm glad to see some of the people in the live chat know these channels. Yeah, Be Good 4000 is awesome.
Okay, right on. I'll check that one out. But what you're saying about your cousin, mate, I don't know. I mean, he's in and out of prison, steals.
Yeah, he does everything, but he kind of like has like the McDonald's downtown, right?
Mhm.
He went down there and he snuck behind the counter. He went he went into one of the offices to grab a uniform. And he dressed just like an employee, and this girl came up to him and said, "Oh, you must be the new one. I'll take you over here to show you what to do."
Yeah.
For what purpose?
He started to make his own combination or a combo, whatever you call it, at McDonald's, and he just walked out.
So he dressed up as,
Yeah,
as an
he sounds like
employee.
What's that?
He dressed up as an employee. He made his own hamburger and walked out with it.
His hamburger and fries, whatever he was hungry for, it just helped himself, and he walked out, and he got away.
Yeah, that's definitely a sign of but he's breaking a social norm.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is a sign of a psychopath. Someone that doesn't go with the grain. He goes against the grain. He's the bad boy. He's the lone wolf.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like if another way of spotting a psychopath is when they're in a group of people, there's someone that's always standing a little bit outside the group and is more observant.
He's a lone wolf.
He's the lone wolf of the pack.
Oh yeah. Oh God.
And guess what? And women love that. He's the leader.
He probably has like, if he's a native, so he's probably got like 7 kids somewhere.
Hey, you're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, you're breaking up there, I am.
Hello?
Barry could hear you.
Okay, can you hear me still?
You're a little fuzzy.
Yeah, but he's still breaking up a bit.
Okay.
So a narcissist was fully aware she had issues and had a bit of a split personality. One was I saw in person, a haughty, ostentatious, immature child. The other, when the mask was off, was a total mess replete with insecurities. She tended to trust people quickly and didn't realize that the person she trusted had been slighted by her. So naturally, the person they believe in becomes vindictive by using the trust against her, which perpetuates the disorder even further.
Well,
Hey guys,
You understand?
I'm inside my apartment here. Can I just break off for a cigarette break?
Yeah, go,
yeah,
man.
I
I'm smoking a cigarette right now.
Just mute your microphone.
You're breaking up bad, man.
Yeah, you're breaking up there, I am.
Okay, let me mute myself for just a second, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
So I'll just take it from here. She tended to trust people quickly and didn't realize the person she trusted had been slighted by her. Okay, because she doesn't understand that what she said weeks ago was really insulting and nasty, but she thinks that person's in her circle of trust for narcissistic supply, and once that person breaks off and starts being nasty back, she doesn't understand what the hell just happened, and she's hurt by it. The narcissist has emotions, it has feelings, and it knows it has problems. A psychopath doesn't know that. Okay,
Okay.
so oh, there you go. Now you sound really good.
Good.
So in order to in order to get close and understand the narcissist, it's a very taxing, painfully slow process, and it's not worth its rigid rules of engagements. My advice is life short to move on. Guys, men as a whole think they can change women. That's a part of a primordial instinct in men that, if I fuck this girl, I'll be able to control her. That's not always the case. And, it doesn't, and guys will continue to chase and berate and try to understand the situation they're in and think they're going to be able to rear and pull it back into their sphere of influence. It doesn't work like that with narcissistic people, especially women.
Yeah, I can understand that. Like,
It's very taxing. I mean, it's not worth the fuck, despite how hot she is.
well, a lot of men, especially nowadays, if they think they're gonna fuck a woman and change her, they're in for a fucking horrible heartbreak, man. Horrible
Right.
heartbreak.
She constantly was engaging in games, mental games, a constant one step forward, two step back, and where everyone is a pawn, whether they know it or not know it. So she uses everybody around her as a pawn to get what she wants, which is what? Attention, narcissistic supply. So, a lot of the people that are in this game, they're not aware that they're actually being used as a pawn for her gains. Again, usually it's attention.
So it sounds to me that hedonism plays a big part
Well, I don't really know too much
narcissistic
about the definition of hedonism. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on that.
Well, with hedonism, we're talking about like self-pleasure, like constantly needing to pleasure the self. It doesn't have to be physical pleasure. It can be mental stimulus, but it's always about pleasing the self, right? And there's a lot of that, and I tend to see that a lot in narcissistic behavior because the constant attention is a pleasure for them. It's just like this self-pleasuring constantly.
Well, and who engages in the most self-pleasure, which is homosexuals.
Yeah, good point.
Right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, our culture, again, this is going back to sort of, what did you call it, cultural narcissism or social narcissism?
Yeah, cultural form of cultural psychopathy or narcissism, yeah.
Okay, kind of going back to that is like, if you sort of pay attention to the narrative that's sold through the media these days, it focuses a lot on self-pleasure. Seek out and please yourself. Sort of this real hedonistic lifestyle.
Well, put it on the credit card, man. Someone else will pay for it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right. And that again, America is in fact a narcissistic culture. I mean, America. Here's something pretty that might blow your mind away and your listeners. The concept that America is a very giving country. I mean, America is in fact the most charitable nation in the world. I mean, when the Boxing Day tsunami happened, the biggest donor was in fact America. Same for when Japan had its tsunami, the earthquake in Haiti, so on and so forth. But why do Americans give out of kindness? No, Americans give out of kindness out of like a loathing. Look at you, you poor little country. Here's $1, you insignificant little shit. Here you go. That's oh, you poor little fucking thing. Dance for the dollar. Dance for it. Here you go.
Right.
Poverty porn. So it's not so much that America is such a giving country. We're giving it out of our own narcissistic pleasure.
There's a lot of I suppose there's a lot of sort of pride or again, self-pleasure when it comes to being able to have everyone look up to you as the one that can help, right?
Right, exact. Yes. So you're getting your rocks off because you're big king shit with your fucking in-ground swimming pool.
That's right. That's right. And that kind of ties in a little bit with how I think a lot of socialist ideas in government, because here in Canada we have a lot of, just socialist healthcare handouts. It's kind of like Big Daddy government going, ha, look what I can do.
Yeah.
I can support you.
You've heard of my cousin that ran for mayor, right?
Yeah. What was his name again?
Could I say it on the
You can if you want. I mean, why don't you just give him his Indian name?
his Indian name? Oh, well, to me, his Indian name to me would be Gayo, which means bear, which is he's pretty big, right? So let's call him Gayo. Okay, so
Okay.
my cousin Gayo ran for mayor, right? And his thoughts were to, help the homeless and all that stuff. And I was kind of thinking about it, like you can't just help the homeless. You can't just take a homeless person and give him a house, right? He might burn it down or just abuse the place and get kicked out. For what,
right. Right.
And
well, that's a little bit different.
It's
It's because you gave him the house. He didn't work for it, so he's gonna fucking trash it. Just like my first car, I crashed it like 3 times because I didn't pay for it. My dad did.
Right.
So is that like an act of narcissism when somebody wants to be in power and say, "Oh, I could be kind to the homeless."
Here's a car. Here's a house.
Right, they're engaging. They're getting a narcissistic and attention supply because they're being so giving. Look how great he is for giving it away. That's right. So it's a form of adulation and ostentation. Sorry, it's an ostentatious form of gratification.
Mm-hmm. And what he said was kind of interesting. He compared Donald Trump. He said Donald Trump is not a politician. He's a like a what do you call it? What's that one reality show he was on?
An actor?
Oh, no, he was. What's the hell's the name of the show he did? Apprentice.
Yeah. He's a businessman. He's not a politician. Those are two different worlds, right? But at the same time, they're probably narcissistic in their way, right? If you want to be in power, just like Donald Trump and everything he says, oh, this is going to be the next bylaw or.
Well, he again, Donald Trump has narcissism. Look at Donald Trump. His form of narcissism is more in glorification of himself, not so much money, right? It's his name,
not the country.
No, it's his name. Yeah. So I actually think Trump's narcissism is actually more, many people would disagree with me, but it's more of a healthy form of narcissism. He's getting his rocks off on his own name and brand. You see what I'm saying?
He has his own Trump plaza there, right?
Trump water, Trump steaks, Trump the Monopoly game, Donald fucking J.
Yeah.
Trump the wall.
Yeah.
Trump the fucking wall. I love it. We're gonna build a wall. We're gonna make this wall fucking great.
I know.
It's gonna be big. It's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah.
And I've seen videos on YouTube where he's groping his own daughter, that Ivanka Trump.
Maybe I don't know the guy personally. I know people that have met him. They've all said he was great though. I've had 2 people. I know 2 people that met him personally. They both said he was really cool to meet.
Yeah.
You can't trust the media anyway. Fuck, the media is narcissistic.
But he is, yes. He has narcissistic traits. His name, his brand, the hairdo. The hair is a little bit scary because his hair looks ridiculous, but he doesn't care.
Yeah,
he's not real yet, but that's a little bit dangerous because then now you're like everyone thinks you look retarded, but he doesn't care. And this also is a little bit dangerous because maybe these people he hired and fired so quick is because they tell him no. And narcissists and psychopaths don't like the word no. As soon as you start standing up for yourself, that's the last thing you want to do in front of these people.
He's got an odd skin tone as well.
Orange.
Like his hair hasn't changed. His hair hasn't changed, just like Dolly Parton's. Like if you look at Dolly Parton's, hers is off
It's
to the
probably a
side
wig,
there,
man. It's
and
probably a fucking toupee anyway.
it's got to be a wig. Like yeah, with Donald Trump, that has to be a wig.
Here, I'm going to quote Sigmund Freud right here. I pulled up some of Sam Bacon's work on, it's called collective narcissism, cultural narcissism, called collective narcissism.
Collective narcissism. Okay.
Collective narcissism. And this is what Sigmund Freud had to write about it. It is always possible to bind together a considerable number of people in love, so long as there are other people left over to receive the manifestation of their aggressiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's like a gang member, right?
Bingo. Yes. Bingo. It's collective narcissism.
Yeah. Like, because, like, say one gang member
cult.
says, hey, yeah,
it's a cult, right? Communism.
Feminism.
Feminism, right.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the first thing that came to mind was a gang member, right? This person's claiming territory, and some of them, like the younger recruits, are like, oh, no, I don't believe in your ideas. I'm going to go on the other side, fight for them, and screw you.
Narcissistic configurations of the we self denote self-esteem derived from the strong identification with the reputation and honor of the family, groups, and other hierarchical relationships. So again, look at the political body. Again, I like to point to because I know more about the Nazi regime than most others, but you can see how it can manifest itself. I worked with a woman who was a little girl when Hitler came to power in Germany. She was a German immigrant. Luckily, she got out of Germany when the Nazi regime fell. Thank God, Americans saved her life. But I asked her about it. I very polite. I was working with her for a while, and she's like 90 now. But when I met her, I asked her like, "Hey, what was it like in Nazi Germany in the early 1930s?" And her face lit up. Like fucking she saw Santa Claus. She said it was the greatest time to be alive. The whole country was just super excited, super happy, and it just sure enough, that whole collectiveness kind of pointed it at who? The Jews.
The Jews.
It was them. They took away your happiness.
Mm-hmm. I watched this one movie. It's an old one called Escape from Sobibor. It was a death camp in, I think it was Poland. But all the guards there were just like that narcissist. The one that was kind of like a higher up person, like a guard or not a soldier. He would ask those the people, the goldsmiths, right? He said, on my whip, I want like a dragon, a golden dragon put on my handle of my whip, so I could feel like more empowered when I whip you guys. That if you guys don't agree what I say, I'm going to whip you with this thing. I got that golden dragon on my handle.
Collectives, especially like bureaucracies, not-for-profits, health maintenance organizations, health insurance, the army, the government, they usually behave passive-aggressively to frustrate people they don't like. Right. I mean, how does the army operate? What does government do? It blocks you from doing what it is you have to do. This misconduct is often aimed at releasing tensions and stresses that the individuals comprising these organizations accumulate in their daily contact with members of the public.
I was going to say too, the extremism. I think extremism has reflections of narcissism and psychopathy. Extreme left, extreme right. I mean,
yeah, they don't want to hear, I get into a fight with libertarians and even with MGTOW expat. I tell them privatizing the military and privatizing roads is really not a brilliant idea. And he would just go completely belligerent on me and saying, you're blue-pilled. You're this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, dude, no, dude. When if you start privatizing everything, there's going to be nothing left. I mean, in Cambodia, there's not a fucking tree left because they privatized the whole country. So they chopped everything down. There's just absolutely nothing left because you've let your ideology just completely go rampant.
That's like Indonesia and Borneo, the forests. So it's all going to be gone in fucking 20 years.
Right. So they can't see. They can't see past their own short-term thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Say, Nick, like what you said about the American people, they are like narcissists and stuff like that. What about the police force down there? I'm sure.
Oh God! Well, they're wielding the authority. They have a gun and a badge. You ain't gonna get past the law now, are you?
I've seen videos of like people.
I'm the law.
I've seen videos of people that got pulled over by a white cop, right? Pull over a black guy, and the guy's just like, "Hey, I'll show you my license and my registration. Let me just pull it out." And they go shoot the guy. I'm like, "Hey, come on!" He was just
Yeah, I know. I've seen that one. Well, that cop is in jail now.
Hey guys, I gotta take a piss. I'll just give me a couple of minutes. I'll be right back.
So anyway, then everyone's
right
leaving me. You're just you're
Okay,
all just leaving me.
I'll stay with you until he's done.
Okay, I'll be right back.
I'm trying to pull up a little bit more of Sam's writing here, so I'm quoting some of his work.
Cool.
And I pulled up the one about the collective narcissism. Yeah, and look, look at the America's government and how narcissistic it is.
Mm-hmm.
1 second we're friends with the Kurds, and now we've completely backstabbed the Kurds. How does that work? We are friends with Saddam Hussein one moment, and you know what? Fuck Saddam Hussein. We're going to overthrow his ass.
Yeah.
So this disposing of people, disposing of your allies, and pissing and shitting on everybody around you, eventually no one's going to trust you anymore. And that's what the case is now with America, where Germany doesn't trust us. Hell no, Germany doesn't trust us.
No.
Russia doesn't trust us. China doesn't trust us. No one trusts America anymore because of this collective narcissism. And mind you, America's government, whose fault is it? Whose fault is it that America does this to the rest of the world? It's the Americans' people's fault.
Okay,
the Americans' people's fault.
What happens if you give a narcissist or a psychopath a television station, a badge, a platform, a political party? What happens if you give that to them?
He could take full.
Millions of people wind up getting killed.
Exactly.
No.
And I think
unless there's people behind them to regulate him. So in the case with Donald Trump is what I've said earlier is maybe these people he keeps firing are people that are saying, no, you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he fires them because you're saying no to me. No one says no to Donald fucking J.
Right. Okay, I'm going to take a piss now. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So, back to what I was saying is America, who America is doing all these things around the world. Whose fault is it? It's the American body, because the government is a reflection of its people, not the other way around.
Right. So, like, for instance, when the United States first went to war with Iraq, right, back in 93?
91.
91 Desert Storm, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And like, what do you probably think, like, the training methods of the military must have got harder at that time, right? They're like, okay, you motherfuckers, you guys are going to war once you get out of boot camp. You guys can't see your families, but we're going to war, motherfuckers. This guy's trying to fuck us up, over oil or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the second time that they went to war with Iraq was because of George W. I don't know where he got his information from, but he was just like, yeah, Iraq has weapons of mass destruction, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go over there. We're going to fuck them up again, And if you ever watched that Fahrenheit 9/11 with what's his name there, the big guy?
Michael Moore.
Michael Moore, yes. Oh, God. It's, like Iraq's just living, their lives and stuff. They're not housing.
Well, again, because of the collective narcissism, who are we taking our collective rage out on them? It's either Muslims or North Korea now. We got to hate North Korea.
Yeah.
Well, wait a second. What the fuck are you talking about North Korea now? Has anybody here met a North Korean? No. Well, they might bomb us. Well, no, they're not going to bomb us. What the fuck are you talking about?
No, they're not. They're not going to fucking.
It's never going to happen. But there's a huge belief, especially with the moderate Republican Party, your normal GOP type, right?
Yeah.
Well, rah the flag. It's out of control. Like, yo, North Korea has no beef with us. Like, you don't understand. We're the ones beefing on them.
Yeah.
North Korea doesn't give a fuck about us, man. Nothing.
No.
All of that is narcissistic fear mongering. Is what that bullshit is.
I'm pretty sure there's narcissism around in North Korea as well.
Oh,
Because,
well, look at him. He's dear leader.
Yeah,
His
he's
face
a
is all over
god.
the place. He's a god.
Mm.
It's a form of narcissism. Again, most people that tend to not be religious, from my understanding and from what I've seen, they tend to believe that they are gods, especially young women today.
Oh God,
they are gods. Oh yes, you want that sweet vajayjay. You want that puss.
Goddesses.
You love it. Right, the white vagina is the best vagina in the whole world because everybody wants to hit it.
Yeah. Especially if it smells like fish.
Right, well, let's be real. Who's the last person going to fucking church? It's a 21-year-old fucking hot white girl. Let's face facts.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Unless they're from Utah.
Oh,
yeah.
It's a sense of entitlement.
That's Mormon.
It's also you have to understand that a lot of it is also based on their failure of real life achievements. I'm sorry guys, I don't know if you guys have tattoos, and my apologies to guys out there that have tattoos, but that's a form of that's a way of making you significant in the fucking world by having a tattoo. No one gives a fuck about your tattoo.
Yeah,
well,
that's what makes you relevant. That's not going to make you relevant, but in their minds, it makes them relevant because they failed at their life achievements.
MGTOW tip number 75: if a chick has more than one tattoo, don't even fucking go near her.
Well, unless you want to just a quick fuck.
Yeah, unless you just want a quick fuck.
Yeah.
And even that is dangerous.
How quick?
So the young woman that has a tattoo, what is that? What is she doing? She has nothing else. The tattoo becomes a symbol of something to talk about. Okay. Yeah, this is my tattoo, and I was in Cancun in 2005, and like, what are you? No, yeah, and then really? Well, tell me more about Cancun. Well, I was in Cancun for like 2 days, and then my friend got drunk, and it just goes on and on and on and on because it's something to talk about.
Yeah,
it's all about her too as well.
It's the same goes for these guys, these UFC fighters. They're covered head to toe in tattoos, and now the new one is the neck tattoo. Oh, I love the neck tattoo. That's what, I'm big and tough. It's a form it's a form of narcissism.
Face
tattoo.
Pure.
Yeah,
well, that's even worse.
It looks like a big hickey to me. Like, oh gosh, what happened to this guy? You got raped. Wait,
let me see if I can find that. I wrote about tattoos.
Nick, there's a big UFC event happening right now at Madison Square Garden, right? And there are a few fighters with actually the champion there. One of the fighters there, he's a champion. He's got tattoos all over, like his arms, his shoulders, and his neck and his back. Like, why do you need all those? Like,
right.
What do they say?
Well, it's composes of elements of preoccupation, overvaluation, and objectification in a vain hope to make them and their insignificant lives relevant. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all it is. That's what a tattoo is.
If you guys follow UFC, right? Like I follow it sometimes. All the good fighters back then, some of them did have like 1 or 2 tattoos, but the great ones like Anderson Silva, he doesn't have any tattoos. My former favorite fighter, Lyoto Machida, he has no tattoos.
They're more confident. They have healthy self-esteem and they're confident about themselves.
And when they and they take losses well,
right?
Like when they get
versus the guy that has a tattoo that's going to throw a hissy fit.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Also, the thing with tattoos is a lot of these people, again, with the limited time horizon, as I was discussing earlier, they don't seem to realize that, hey, moron, you're going to be old someday, and that tattoo is going to look fucking retarded. So it's a long interlude of youth and vanity. That's all it is. That's what it is.
And also a lack of. I think it's also a lack of sort of foresight.
Yeah.
Getting tattoos, really, you can't. There's a real lack of foresight. Like, think about it. It's there forever.
Yeah.
It's compulsive to get it now, but fucking, 40, 50 years from now.
It goes back hedonism, what you're saying earlier.
Yeah, the
With
hedonism.
these girls that get a tramp stamp, that tattoo's gonna go covering their butthole, or even go
Well,
further.
that's another form. I think that coincides with what Nick is saying is if you get a tattoo on above your ass,
Yeah,
like who the fuck's gonna see that?
I guess the girls that she's or the guys that she's sleeping with, but you
Yeah,
can't
the only
see
one
that
that's
in
gonna
the
see that is
dark.
the guy that's fucking plugging her from behind.
Yeah, but
Right.
they're not gonna see that in the dark unless it glows in the dark. Like maybe
Oh,
that will be a new invention, glow in the dark tattoos.
no, didn't you know narcissists fuck with the lights on?
Well, probably. That I don't know.
I don't.
Like
Or
white
with a
lights
mirror.
dim.
Yeah,
They have
in front of a mirror. Yeah,
in front of
a
a
mirror.
mirror.
American Psycho type of people.
Hey, you guys, I wanted to just add something here. I found this article a little while back, and I want to bring it up because I think it fits in nicely, and I think it fits in nicely with the idea of what you called collective narcissism, Nick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the collective narcissism of women, and this is a pattern that you're going to see happening again and again and again if you follow sort of the vein of feminism today, the men's rights, and that kind of stuff. There's this article, and I'll put the link in the chat so that people listening can read it for themselves.
Okay.
And I don't remember where I saw it. I can't remember who turned me on to it. But anyway, the title of the article is breadwinning women are driving alimony reform.
Okay.
And this is fucking fantastic because it is basically an article talking about how alimony reform is finally starting to take place in a number of states in the United States. Alimony is a form of fucking it's just a corrupt system. And it's finally getting changed because women nowadays who are breadwinners are being forced to pay it. When the collective narcissism of women is, if it happens to men, it's not our problem. But the moment it happens to us, no, things have to change. It must change. This article is fantastic, where it says, I'll read some of it. When alimony reform comes to Florida, it may be too late for Terry McMillan, 65-year-old who runs a jewelry business in Tampa. She was ordered to pay her ex-husband $7,000 a month 15 years ago. Okay, no. This is a horrible nightmare for hundreds of thousands of men.
Yeah.
In North America and probably in Australia and in Europe. Okay. And this has been going on for fucking decades and decades.
Right.
But it's not changing. It's a completely unjust concept in law. Yet it has been going on without any word of mention from anyone wanting reform until feminism comes in, becomes a big part of Western culture, and encourages women to become their own breadwinners and independent. And once they do, suddenly they start to fall into this crack of alimony. And when that happens, the collective narcissism says, no way.
But I don't understand. Is this in favor of women or in favor of men? It sounds like the guy's getting the $7,000.
Well, that's because 95% of the time it's the man paying the alimony, not women.
Right.
You understand? This is her example is a small example. What my point is there is now a big push to reform alimony laws.
Yeah. So, like in this case, would it fall under like a pimp and a hoe type of thing, or is it the reverse?
No, I mean alimony is basically saying that if you marry a woman, and again I'll put it in the perspective of man paying woman because that's 95% of the cases.
Yeah.
Is when a divorce occurs and she's used to a certain lifestyle that she's lived with this man who maybe he's making 6 figures a year.
Yeah.
Right. And they get divorced. The state law can force that man to continue paying this woman he divorced.
What?
Thousands of dollars a month.
What?
Yes, thousands of dollars a
For
month.
what?
Exactly. Okay, wait.
But this is the thing.
Let's rewind. What was alimony really? Alimony's been around for about 100 years in America. What did it start off? How did it start, though? Do you know how alimony actually began?
I don't know the historical timeline of alimony in law. And I'm sure it's very big and complicated. I'm sure it's complicated and long. But the point is like,
I'll be right back, guys.
okay. A lot of laws that revolve around marriage and divorce, a lot of the modern laws that we see today, came into effect in the last half century.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it had to do with this sort of feminist drive in politics and law. Because when you talk about, have you heard of the Duluth model?
No.
The Duluth model states that it is women who are the best caregivers and therefore give custody automatically to women all the time in a divorce case. And this has caused so many fucking problems. Like single motherhood is one of the biggest pariahs in Western culture. But so a lot of these laws, and I'm sure if you looked it up, alimony laws, I'm sure if they're 100 years old, I'm sure they were heavily revised probably in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Guaranteed.
Yeah, correct. That is correct.
So when I'm talking about it, actually in the article it says, 1960s it mentions, but this is the point I'm making is I think this is a prime example of the collective narcissism of women in the modern age, in that if men are suffering from these horrible laws, it's not a big deal. Okay, no. Is this not a trait of a narcissist? But if it happens to me, well, you can go fuck yourself, and you need to change. Correct?
Right, because you're a microcosm to the bigger picture.
It's just like you're saying before in my first chat, is that the men, when they go missing, right, Native men.
Well, no one cares about you.
Yeah, they don't care about them. But when a woman, goes missing,
he deserved it. He did something wrong.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so again, yes, and the reason I'm bringing that up is that I think, in my opinion and my experience, it seems that cultural, or not cultural, but collective, what Nick called collective narcissism, it seems to me that women tend to be the largest victim of that phenomenon in today's Western society. Huh?
No, they can't be a victim because
maybe victim's the wrong word to use in that sense, but they are. I think. I think they're the ones that are you can point to and go, wow, here's a great example of collective narcissism. Here it is. It can be observed. It can be measured. It can be traced back through history. It's reflected in laws. It's reflected in politics. I think it's a fucking fantastic example.
Well, again, I just learned recently how did alimony come about, and it came out because women didn't really learn skills or do anything. The only thing they really knew how to do was tend to the house and tend to their kids and be a homemaker.
Or prostitute.
Right. So the thing was that, sometimes women got hitched with a lot of assholes, and the guy would do a runner or be unfaithful or just a belligerent drunk, so on and so forth. So if she's got to leave this guy and take the kids with her, how is she going to survive if all she knows is how to be, take care of the house and do these type of things? That's where alimony originated from, was when back in the early, turn of the 20th century, these women who were abused by really abusive husbands, they wanted to leave and escape the house. How were they going to leave the house if they don't know any skills or know anything? How are they going to, pay for rent or and take care of kids and do all those type of things? So that's where alimony originated from.
Yeah, so I'm sure it did, but the thing is like how much of that concept, how much of that, because what you're saying is alimony existed, it became into law in the beginning of the 20th century because most men were fucking assholes.
Yeah,
and that's a very feminine narrative.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that these women again, it's an obsolete concept. Alimony, 100%.
It is
100%. It was definitely. I would definitely say it was necessary in some cases back, 60, 70, 80 years ago. But today they most certainly don't need it. There's no fat chance they need it. There's enough community and organizations, not-for-profits, government, state-sponsored, women groups that you don't need to take a man's resources anymore. It's not 1910 with a horse and buggy.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is, okay, so these this man and woman get married, right? And the first thing they do is make both of them sign a prenup, right? Prenuptial agreement.
You don't have to, but it's an option.
You don't have to. I thought
No.
it was the first thing you had to do when you were
No.
It's an option. You don't. If you're a man, it'd be smart to do it. But even then, even nowadays, in the
Yeah, there's ways around it.
there's ways around it, so it's not even a guarantee.
Okay, so it's like a 70-year-old man marries a 24-year-old, right? And the
70-year-old man has money and a lot of it.
Yeah, and if she chooses to sign that prenuptial agreement or vice versa, right? Like whoever's agreeing with this stuff, right? Mostly the woman will be like, yeah, I'm going to sign that because I want half of it or even all of it, you know. And,
well, the only reason a 24-year-old woman is marrying a 70-year-old man is because he's got fucking a shitload of money.
Yeah, he just wants he just wants to dip into that fountain of youth.
That's hypergamy. No, he can afford it. Like he can afford that. To be on the upper end of hypergamy.
Yeah, but like, what if he just wants sex from her because
that's what he wants?
Yeah, and he's going to die from it. You know, she knows it, and
yes,
because his dick's going to look like a midget. What's that guy called on Star Wars? The master dressed in black. Darth Vader. Yeah, you know, his dick might look like that, like a small little midget. Darth Vader. You know, and he dies off.
Well,
she has everything, right, or half of what he's got.
Yeah, well, that's what would happen. But you have to understand, most 70-year-old men can't live out that fantasy. If you have enough money, yes, you can.
Yeah.
Okay. If you have enough money, yes, you can. You can feed into the hypergamous nature of women and come out on top. Because let's be honest, if you were 70 years old and you were a millionaire and you could afford to date a fucking 20-year-old, you'd probably do it. Yeah. And you probably wouldn't give a shit if you had a heart attack while she's riding.
The bass player to the Who died fucking a hooker when he was like 70.
Yeah, exactly. So you probably wouldn't give a fuck.
And this kind of ties into what I discussed earlier about Bruce Lee, right? These triads.
What's that?
These triads wanted to kill Bruce Lee because they refused him, right? But what did they do? They probably used this woman named Betty King Powell. Betty King Powell.
Her name was Betty King Powell?
Betty King Powell. I think that's
sounds like a Chinese pancake mix.
Oh, yeah. But anyways, these triads probably hired her to say, "Hey, give him this pill. You know, regardless if he had a headache or not, or he was stressed out, you know, and say, give this to him. Because once you kill him, we're going to pay you." You know, and that probably ties in with the narcissist attitude and, you know, mindset of the Chinese triads who are in power.
Yeah. Right? Well, we kind of already confirmed that, like, kind of gang type behavior is very narcissistic.
Like the gang members,
or even cult.
And like, the cult, the satanic cult.
Well, again, like the Bloods and the Crips and a lot of these African American type gangs. The Tupac Shakur was talking about how the gang became the family and the father that he never had. And that's how that kind of played out in his life, where they didn't grow up having fathers, and usually the bigger brothers, you know, would be in the gangs, and that would act as the family unit.
And take care of them and say, "Hey."
It's tribal, so it's our gang versus the other gang, you know, on a smaller scale of tribalism.
Yeah, I'm fascinated now by the concept of collective narcissism. That's
because I'm going to listen to the stream tomorrow and take notes of what you said, Nick, about these women. You know, and that's actually good advice there, because, you know, I've run into women like that, you know, where it's all about them. You know.
Yeah, actually, I can dump it right now. I'm going to dump in this one called corporatism and narcissism. I think this is really a fascinating concept. Dump that in. Oh, I can't do that. I have to edit it. Anyway, I'll upload it in a little bit. Yeah, well, But again, the cultural differences. Cambodia was a different case of cultural narcissism because what happened in Cambodia was you gave children guns, right? And children are much more in their infantile stage where it's mostly about them because a child, they're the center of the universe and the parents are their gods. And so here's a gun, you know, you told them a bunch of bullshit, go out there and start killing people. Whereas, you know, was a much more younger form of cultural collective narcissism versus Germany, where it was much more mature and it was run by much older gentlemen that did it.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, I actually learned something tonight about narcissism. Like it just ties into like whatever you said, Nick. You know, and I had to Google the what it meant, right? And it was just like, oh yeah, there's it's like kind of rampant around like in the States and like in the government and games, like the black market and stuff like that. And it's easy to pinpoint, you know.
Well, I mean,
but again, you know, when is it healthy though? You know, some narcissism is healthy. Having good self-esteem and being confident and, you know, things like that is quite normal. It's when it manifests itself and when it when I wrote that list of all those types, it can't just be one thing.
Yeah.
Like let's say Trump likes his name, he likes his brand and all the other bullshit that he's about. Just because of that one thing, he has to have a bunch of other fucking issues in
that doesn't
line
make him a
to
narcissist. He's got to have Yeah, he's got to have different traits because otherwise it's not narcissism anymore.
Right.
It's just healthy self-confidence.
Right.
Like for Obama, for instance, to me, he was like a kind president. He's, you know, he kind of lowered himself to be with the country and stuff. And he, what I really respect him for is that he recognized the Navajo code talkers, right? Which is like nobody will probably do that in the state.
Well, that could be.
We made a movie. What more do you want? We made a goddamn movie about it. Jesus wants to roll out the red carpet for you Native Americans. What? You want your mule and your 40 acres?
They already got that shit. Holy Christ!
Oh, come on.
Okay, but here, you know, you mentioned Obama. Now, Obama was much more narcissistic than Trump, and I'll give you a good example. Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. Wait a second. When Clinton was in office, when the people, the democracy, when the American people said we don't fucking like that, he backed the fuck off. Okay. Same thing with Bush.
Okay, what kind of
same with most presidents. Obama, what does Obama do? He doubles down.
Yeah.
He doubles down. Fuck you. I'm gonna keep going. And mind you, Trump became president because they saw Obama. He didn't do anything he was supposed to fucking do, and they saw his attitude. Like, you know what? Screw Pennsylvania. Screw the coal miners and all the people that got me elected.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
This is your constituency. This is your constituency that you put in place. So who was the biggest loser when Trump got elected? It was Obama, because Obama didn't know when to stop.
That's
when
why
Trump said no.
That's exactly why Trump. It was Obama's legacy that got Trump elected.
No. Yes, that's correct.
Absolutely, it was Obama's legacy.
100%.
Trump bought his way in. That's what I think, because he's a businessman as well. He's got a fucking name on his goddamn hotel there called Trump Plaza. And
you're right. There's a little bit of that. I'm not denying that. But the biggest loser in this was Obama.
Yeah, Obama was the biggest loser for sure.
Does he want his face on the $100 bill? You know, the $100 American.
No, but they're talking about putting Obama's face on a bill.
Right. Well, yeah. And what for what? You did nothing. You phoned it in for 8 years. You phoned globalization in onto America.
Oh,
America got a taste. America got a taste of what European democracies like with Obama, and American people took a taste of it and hated it.
They didn't like it. They hated it, man.
If you don't like life in the States, just move up to Lethbridge, Alberta. You'll love it here. Me and Ayam will just take you around and say, hey.
Nice.
I will. I do plan on visiting you guys. Mark my words. By this time next year, at some point, I'll be up there. I'll be up there visiting
Yeah,
you guys
Check
for
this
sure.
out, Nick. That's the homeless shelter right there. I'm gonna play a prank. I'm gonna grab a whole garbage bag full of cans and bottles, and we're gonna throw it out there, and
We'll
and
take
then
you
we're
down
gonna
all
go
the.
to Ayam's.
Why don't we take them down the
Ayam's
alleys and show them all the needles in the alleys?
No, we can't do that. I think we're gonna have to take him to like the Pizza Hut or the Water Tower. That's not a restaurant no more, eh? Aren't they
Hold on a
shut
second
down?
here. Somebody in the comments said Obama was surrounded by women and hated men. Lowe's low
No,
for that.
Obama liked women.
Oh yeah, he had equal rights for them, I guess. You guys can.
Obama,
I'm gonna
he hit on Ying Luck. He hit on a lot of the women leaders. So I don't believe in the whole concept of Obama being gay and shit like that. That's kind of fucking retarded.
No, he wasn't gay. But he was a fucking narcissist. That's for sure.
Yeah, again, and it shows when he kept doubling down on his ideology. That's how you know. Again, Clinton, not so much. Maybe Bush. No, Bush didn't really do that, but Clinton certainly did. He pissed in the wind. He was a palm tree. When the people said no, we don't fucking like that, he backed the fuck off. Obama didn't do that. Trump, on the other hand, is doing exactly what Trump. We're hoping, as a MGTOW community, Trump does what he says that he's going to do. As of right now, it's been 1 year of him being in office. I give him about a C.
Yeah.
C plus.
I'd agree.
You know, the only thing Trump's really been able to do is shine a bright light on a lot
Are you guys
of
going
the
to be on for a while? Are we going to be on for a while?
A little bit longer.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go for a quick smoke break if you don't mind.
Go ahead, man.
Go for it.
Thanks.
I give Trump maybe a C. The only good thing about Trump, what he's done so far, is he's shined a really bright light on the Democratic Party and what they stand for, and the cultural Marxism and a lot of the societal rots. He has not attacked any of the rots. All he's done is pointed them out.
Yeah. Well, and exactly. Because remember he was talking about, when I'm president, I'm going to arrest Hillary Clinton. That was such a fucking great episode of politics, how the politics turn.
Right. So, you can see, what we were talking about 2 weeks ago is how the collective narcissism is able to take root in pretty much all societies at one point or another. I mean, there's been very few countries that have been able to ignore this type of, I guess, massive brainwashing.
Yeah. Well, and I think it patterns itself it manifests itself in different groups, forms of groups, political groups, cult-like groups, ideological groups is a big one. What do you call it? Identity politics. I mean, how fucking more narcissistic can you get than that?
Well, that's why I can't stand Yilo Monopolis, where the fuck his name is.
Yeah.
Do you know I have not watched one of his videos? I refuse to watch anything that he has to say, because he's identity politics on the libertarian side. Now, mind you, you need a gay guy to push your fucking views. That's how far gone the other side is.
Exactly.
That you have to send baiting. You have to Trojan horse this guy in to try to get your point across when you shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah. Well, and it's the same, like, again, going back, as I will, to dynamics between men and women in the modern age. Again, that mirrors exactly what I was saying about, in order to make life better for men, you need a woman to speak for them.
Right, exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Good way of putting it. Yep, yeah, totally.
You got a Trojan horse a woman in there in order to actually make changes that might benefit a man's life. Okay? Same kind of bullshit, man. And I'm really loving this collective narcissism kick, man.
Going back to collective narcissism, I pulled a little something up here. Now, Nazism demanded the suspension of judgment, depersonalization, derealization. Okay, so again, a lot of the people on the far left now are completely depersonalized. They think they are personalized, kind of like if I go to Starbucks and I'm a mocha frap Splenda with 3 ice cubes and a venti, blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
But in fact, you become depersonalized in the process of doing that.
Yeah.
You know, the other funny thing about people identify with the Democrats. Democrats are good. Oh, I like the environment. I care about women and minorities. I must be a Democrat. Therefore, I must be on the good side. And the Republicans, oh, it's money, it's war, it's all this other type of bullshit. So people automatically think Democrat good. I must be a good person. Republican bad.
Mm. Well, that's the manufacturing of consent, which I think Noam Chomsky coined that phrase. You polarize the issue. You basically spell out like what do they call it? Paint by numbers for the masses. This is good color. This is bad color.
Mm-hmm.
This is bad identity, and you just let everything else fall. It lies as it falls. It's fucking incredible.
Well, again, it's a rebellion against old ways, and that was the same thing during the hippie movement. Okay, we're rebelling against the old ways. Now, with the new wave of, I guess, this, communist, progressive, cultural Marxist, whatever you want to fucking call it.
Yeah,
it's again, now you're abandoning even more of an old ways to the point where it's completely belligerent. At least during the 60s, it was pretty, I want to say, it made a little bit more sense. But now you're at the point where I guess it's fourth wave of feminism, as a lot of people call it. It's now completely, it's to the point where you're completely, the only way to be discriminating is to be indiscriminate in your discrimination.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You see, so white cultures or Western cultures can't be good. Therefore, the other cultures must be equal.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
Right. So now you're saying that the African continent is no different than European continent. Well, no, there's differences, right? But no, they're not.
Yeah.
We're all the same. So now that's communism. That's communism, because now you're bringing in the fact that we're all on an equal playing field.
What do you guys think about what's going on now? Like Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un are like saying, "Okay, you bomb me, I'm gonna bomb you." And it's been going on for like what?
It's a play. It's a play.
Yeah.
You're watching a dramatic play. That's it. You're watching a
it's a big play. It's circus peanuts and popcorn and Fox News and dun 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 dun. This alert: North Korea just moved a troop on the border. One troop, just one guy.
I watched.
He was pissing on a tray.
I watched this one channel on YouTube, and it seems like the newscasters say, "Oh, today Donald Trump says he's going to declare war on Korea or North Korea," and he's not doing anything. He's
of course he isn't. It's
game.
You're watching the shadows on the wall, man. You're watching
shadows on the wall. Don't turn off the TV. Get off the TV. Turn it off. Look at Fox News. And I do like Fox News. I think they're a little bit, pretty much better than all the rest. But if you flip on Fox News, let's take that Vegas shooting for example. Okay, hey, we want to thank our first responders. Yeah, first responders, good job and everything. Hey, and how about that Second Amendment, right? They're gonna come for the guns. Well, whoa, wait a second, hold on. Can we talk about the shooting? No, they're coming for the Second Amendment. We gotta protect our gun rights. Yeah. Hey, thanks to the police officer. Blue lives matter, right, folks? Blue lives matter. We need to thank our first responders, and they keep repeating it over and over and over again without actually talking about the shooting.
Sure, that's their job. That's the role they have to play.
So they're deflecting. Yeah. They're deflecting. Yeah, okay, we get it. First responders, Second Amendment. Yeah, okay, we got that part. Okay, Second Amendment, yeah. Can we go back to talking about the shooting and what the hell's going on with that? But no, we completely dropped that, and now they're going to bring in the gun debate again.
Of course.
Right? And then they're going to talk about how great the cops are. Hey, you know what? We need to arm the cops more. They need AR-15s now, and they need tanks, because we can't have this again. Am I right, folks? Tanks for the cops? Yeah. Give them tanks. Give them grenade launchers.
Give them tanks and kill and behead the Muslims.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
Right. So that's how that comes around.
But check this out. Every time there's, I mean, if we're still kind of on topic here, every time there's a mass shooting, guess what happens to gun sales?
They go up.
Right.
They
They
go
go
up.
up.
They go up fucking dramatically, man. Do you think it's an accident? For
Okay,
fuck's sake.
Nick, I have a question for you. Okay, since you're from the States,
Mhm.
say you got a gun in your possession, somebody tries to break in, you have the right to shoot him, and you'd get away with it, right?
That's depending on the state.
Yeah.
On the states,
Each
okay.
state has its own law.
I thought it was the whole U.S. You know?
No, you know what? This is the cabin boy. An interesting difference between Canada and America is
Yeah.
that there's a lot more federal power in Canada than there is in the States.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
Provinces almost mean nothing in Canada compared to the States, where each state is quite a lot more independent than the provinces in Canada. That's one difference you'll notice.
Well, they're trying to get around that. You know, they don't like that.
Yeah.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
Then you'll end up being like Canada.
Especially with the
Well,
US.
they're trying to centralize power. I mean, DHS, you know, all these alphabet soup fucking gun-toting fucking government bureaucracies are just, it's out of control. It's crazy, man. It's bizarre.
So yeah, like what I was going to say about the veterans that fought, in Korea and whatnot, they're still alive, and the other ones that came from Afghanistan and Iraq, and they're messed up as well, but they have a possession of a gun, and that's their first reaction.
Listen, what
This is
you're
what
talking about is people with PTSD. They come back from Iraq. Now they don't have, I was gonna let me back up. I was about to talk shit about somebody, but let's back. Yeah, let's back up. Now you're giving guys with PTSD who serve in the combat zone. Their training in the military now is completely different of that from the Vietnam War and World War II. They've now been programmed to be much more psychopathic. They don't need anybody. They become introverted. I question a lot of why are these guys killing themselves. I happen to think it has to do with whatever goes on in boot camp now. I'll give you a quick example. I'm in Cambodia, and they had this whole U.S. embassy get together, and so there's all a bunch of Americans getting together, and including the Marines that guard the embassy. So I go up to the Marines and I go, hey, nice to meet you. I'm so and so, and he's completely drunk, and he's just a complete belligerent animal. I do what I want. I do what I want. I don't listen to anybody. I do what I want. I'm like, okay, dude, relax, man. And, a couple of my friends, another good example is my friend's uncle got out of the Marines, got married, had wife and kids and everything. And out of nowhere, he became schizophrenic. Schizophrenia is quite common with a lot of post veterans that served in a combat zone or served in the military. Well, why is that? Obviously, they broke their brain. They
Their minds are broken.
Their minds are broken, right? So now what the U.S. is doing is, because they feel bad for the veterans that are coming back all fucked up in the head, they now go to the front of the line for the police department, for being in the working for the state. Now they get preferential treatment. So when I fill out a job application, if I fill out a job application to go be a police officer or to be a code enforcer for my local municipality or whatever, the first thing they ask, are you a veteran? Or did you serve in the military? And if I were to check that box, yes, I go to the front line. So now you're introducing guys who served in the military combat role, who know how to kill and to kill an enemy. Now you're bringing them over here and giving them a gun, and to do what? Now you're the enemy, the citizen.
Yeah. If you guys
Now
ever
you're the
watched
enemy.
that Gran Torino with Clint Eastwood, that was an awesome movie. And he just falls into lines with those, right? Because he kept explaining to this priest that comes to his house, saying, well, when we were in North Korea, we didn't call the police, and the priest said, we're not in North Korea, right? But he was in I guess his hometown, but he was surrounded by Koreans, right? That moved into the neighborhood.
Right.
Trying to drive
Fucking rice
out.
pickers.
Yeah, gooks, man, gooks.
Piece of
That's what they
shit.
call them, fucking
Zip
gooks.
ahead.
The one scene, like if you ever watched it, he pulls out a gun on these the neighbors there. They're Koreans, right? And he pulls his M14 towards that gangbanger. He said, "I used to stack you fucks 5 feet high for a sandbag."
Ah,
Like, holy fuck, that was great. Like
But even
I used to have that.
he was part of a different generation. Again, why are these guys offing themselves so much? I think
Yeah,
it's a confluence of
something
a
else is
couple
going
things.
on. Something has changed.
Well, yeah. Well, the other
yeah,
thing is that these guys are doing really bizarre tours. So they'll be getting blown up by an IED 1 minute, and then the next day they're
yeah,
playing with their kids in their house.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
yeah. So
Wait a second. So there's no time frame to kind of deflate from your experiences. So, like for example, in Vietnam, they would take them maybe 2 months to decompress
yeah,
after a combat zone. So
You know
they'll
what that
be
sounds like? You know what that
what?
sounds like, Nick, is when you said they'll be getting blown up by an IUD, and then the next minute they're playing with their kids. That sounds like raising a German Shepherd that haven't shot in front of your face.
Right. Bingo.
oh,
Exactly right.
oh gosh.
Mhm.
Yeah,
When you're in a war
the
zone, and Dwight D. Eisenhower is talking about, when you, it's a you're in a whole different world, and again, Americans tend to glorify the military, like yeah, killing Nazis, the greatest thing on the planet, in video games and all that other bullshit. When in fact, in reality, it's the worst thing in the world to experience.
Well, I met a veteran of the Korean War about a decade ago here in Lethbridge, in Alberta, and when I found out he was a vet, I was just fucking wow. I got to ask this guy all these questions, right? And one of the things I noticed is that he fucking hated anyone that even looked Asian.
Yeah, no, I know. So my grandfather served in Korea too. He fucking hates gooks, like a
Oh god,
burning passion.
it was amazing. Just like fucking gooks. Fucking gooks. They killed my friends. Fucking gooks. I was happy. Just listening to that shit.
okay, I'm back.
Yeah, well, you see it happening. It changes. Hey, look at the about the My Lai massacre, right?
Mm-hmm,
Okay, well, they do. There's plenty of documentaries of them interviewing the guys who did it, and they ask at the end of all the interviews and asking each veteran who was at the My Lai massacre, "Do you feel bad about what you did?" And they all like, "Fuck no, hell no. Why
no.
would I feel bad?" Fucking kind of they're like, what kind of question is that? And this right, this also goes to me living in Cambodia.
Mm.
And when I see people donate money to the Khmer people, I'm like, don't you fucking give them a dime. Get the fuck out of here. Don't you feel bad for them? It's always a white woman who wants to give like a bowl of rice
Yeah.
to the kid's laughing at you. He's laughing in your
Oh yeah,
face.
I have to comment on that. When I went to Tijuana, I've been there 3 times, right? And
Tijuana. What were you doing in Tijuana?
Tijuana, I want to drink some cerveza, mucho cerveza.
Jesus
But anyways,
Christ.
I went there 3 times, right? And when you cross the border from the U.S. to Tijuana, right, there's kids that are selling candy on the side, right? They would
Mm-hmm.
just hold up the candy what they're selling, or they call you over, and it's just like, why are these kids selling candy on the side? Like on a bridge or the first walkway. And the funny thing is, when you go to Tijuana, you have to pay 25 cents to use the washer.
Yeah, sure.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so you have to put a quarter in, push the bar over, it prints you a receipt. You have to take the receipt with you into the washroom, and which smells like a dead animal.
Oh, I'm sure it's horrible, man. It's
Yeah, so
fucking
it's like, oh gosh. Walked in there, used the bathroom, and I was just like, do I wash my hands? Because I don't want to touch the sink. There's
Well, yeah,
bacteria.
Mexico's a really Tijuana sounds like it's just an
Look,
absolute
Tijuana's
Dr.
horrible.
Seuss night. Yeah, it sounds like a Dr. Seuss nightmare.
I've been
It's
there, man,
fucking.
too. It's fucking horrible.
I didn't like it after the first time, and my friend told me, let's go there again. It's just like, well, can we go more south? Because
Yes.
I feel so sorry for those kids that are selling candy. What I heard is that they're selling all that stuff for their parents.
Mhm.
You know, and it's just like, oh,
You
no,
know,
I can't.
you know, that's funny. You mentioned that they're selling the candy for their parents. In Indonesia, a lot of the kids, there's a lot of beggars on the street that stand in traffic and
Yeah.
ask for money.
Yeah, that's no different than in Cambodia. They do
Yeah.
the same thing.
But guess what? Those
Yeah.
kids, it's it's their job, and they're being
Yeah,
hired
no,
out
it's the
by
same.
adults.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yep. Same in Cambodia.
Yeah.
It's no different.
So
Alligator tears, man. Alligator tears.
Yeah, man.
that's
They're being hired
that,
out by adults, and these kids they don't keep that money you give them. These little kids,
no.
No, it goes to their parents.
or their parents, or their foster parents, or whoever's their guardian
Their
or
Who
guardian.
the caretaker is.
their
Yep.
caretaker.
So that's another act of narcissism, either from the woman or the man, right?
Hmm.
Or
Well,
even
exploiting
both.
children takes a special kind of cold heart.
Yes. Well, again,
Yeah.
you talk about psychopathy.
Yeah.
I don't care. Make me
Mhm.
money. That's what. Again, this you understand though, and we're capitalists. I mean, MGTOW tends to be on the libertarian free market side. I completely agree with that. But again, capitalism, it's profit before people. Okay,
Mhm.
Hmm.
and I'm not saying socialism is the opposite of that. I'm not
Mhm.
saying socialism is the counterbalance to
Yeah.
having this, because as we can see, socialism in theory on paper that's what it's supposed to be about, but it doesn't,
No.
obviously doesn't work. But
Mhm.
I'm reading here, propose the criteria for narcissistic personality disorder, and we're talking about uh, earlier about Western women, how they're not having children and they're just not viable for marriage. And one of them says, and I thought of you real quick when I read this: devoid of empathy, is unable or unwilling to identify with, acknowledge, or accept the feelings, needs, preferences, priorities, and choices of others.
Yeah.
That's women. That's an
That is,
a North American woman in a nutshell.
yeah. Absolutely.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
That is a North American woman in a nutshell. And again, we when you or I say these things, and we're quoting either work we've done or that other people have done, researched. But when we say these things, it's observable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
Oh yeah.
Joe Blow, listening to this, can go out into the world and observe this,
And
and
say
not
it
only
right.
observe it, but measure it, and
Yeah.
watch it repeat itself.
And
Yeah.
Right?
experience it as well,
Hmm.
because you wouldn't know what you're talking about if you experienced it. You can't just look out, be an outside person looking into this issue. And like that's why I brought up Bruce Lee and like the way his life was, and the way he died, and all this controversy happened. The same thing with the U.S. government. They're fighting or pretending to try to like fight the North Koreans, and it's like a Cold War. Like,
Yeah.
come on, guys, you guys should
Well, Cold
quit
War
you
was
guys.
very profitable. Cold War was a very
Yeah,
profitable capitalist venture.
But
yeah.
you can boil any. I was talking to MGTOW expat about this also, because we were talking about bands, and he was talking about how Green Day and U2, two bands that I happen to like. U2 now I like, because we were talking about that before. But I told him, oh, I happen to be enjoying U2 and Green Day, and he started talking. Oh, they get paid. They push the New World Order agenda. They're down with LGBT and socialism, yada yada yada. And
Mhm.
he boils it down to money. Well, you can boil any argument down
Yeah,
to, oh, it's the military industrial complex. Oh, they're getting paid off, so on and so forth. But there has to be an agenda behind it. And I try to explain to him. I go, yeah, you can boil any argument down to it's a pharmaceutical biofarm fucking industry or military industrial complex, so on and so forth. But if you look at, like, again, the migrant crisis,
mhm.
that's not about money. There's something else going on behind that.
Absolutely,
And I think
absolutely.
I boil it down to, it's not money, it's social engineering.
Well, this is the thing. I think a lot of people misunderstand when it comes to capitalism, especially. A lot of people misunderstand this concept, and they think that money is, and you hear it, money, the root of all evil. No, it's not. It's
Mhm.
not.
Yeah,
Money's a bonus.
Money's a bonus. Yeah, right. Bingo.
The devil doesn't fucking do tricks for money,
No.
but he'll take a cut because it's a goddamn bonus, man.
Right. Would you rather have power or money?
Yeah,
Go
absolutely.
with the power.
Well,
Think
power
about-
power comes with money.
Yeah,
Money
think
doesn't
about
always
it,
come
man.
with power.
Think about it. About a month ago, I won $700 at the casino. Okay, that's more than my paycheck.
Oh God, what are you doing?
I was just,
That could have went to helping gasoline and hookers.
no way, not in my life, you know. It's all about
Come on,
pizza
cabin
and-
boy. Is that where
Yeah,
you were
you-
last weekend when we were like? I was asking
No.
for you. I
Yeah,
go,
we
where
can
is
find
he?
them.
No,
Is he passed out behind your fucking liquor store right now?
no, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna be passed out in the back of Ayam's workplace, you know.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
I said that's what I
Cabin
told her.
Boy,
I told her I
what
am.
are
I
you
go,
doing
is
here?
cabin boy
We're doing
coming? I go, where's cabin boy? He's drunk behind your
We're gonna
building,
do a
isn't he?
chat.
That's right.
Drunk behind my work. I thought we're gonna do a chat, man. It's like, oh, geez, I thought I was at home. Wait, when I get home, I'll message you.
I was hanging out with his cousins. Stop hanging out with your cousins,
Yeah,
man.
my. No,
Bad news.
I'm not. No, I will not hang out with my cousins. The last time that we were supposed to do a chat, I was out at my dad's house, right? And
Okay.
he lives about pretty like an hour away south of Lethbridge, right? And there was no Wi-Fi there, so that's why I texted you.
What, were you on the
I was
reserve?
like, oh fuck!
There's no Wi-Fi. You're
Yeah,
on the
I was
reserve.
on the edge of. No, there is Wi-Fi, but some idiot went and turned off the switch on the tower, and
Some
fuck,
guy
man. I was
some
almost-
guy got drunk and fucking fell on the switch, so the reserve had no Wi-Fi.
Mhm.
You could say that, but I think he was just sober and just got pissed off because he didn't have Wi-Fi. The fucking weird thing is that this guy gets Wi-Fi for free, and the tower's right beside his house. And when these people are renovating his place, his Wi-Fi was cut out, so he can't do nothing. And it's like, well, why are you hanging out in your place when it's getting renovated and you have no Wi-Fi? So he goes and turns off the
Yeah, because
switch.
he's on the reserve, man. What do you think?
Yeah, and he got, oh fuck, was I ever pissed off? And you know, when it was turned on, it was when I got back from my doctor's appointment. Next thing I went on my laptop, it was just like, it's like, Dad, the Wi-Fi is working now. Like, oh, is it? He's like, yeah, because he had to call the cops on that.
I called the
That's why
police. I called the police because the guy that owns the Wi-Fi turned it off.
Yeah, and I was so fucking mad, and I was like, I can't wait to get home, and that's why I couldn't do the chat last time.
Yeah, I tell you, man, reserve
And,
life is something else.
I was just, it's third world country, but where my dad is from, it's God's country.
Of course it is. Of course.
Oh, America?
No, he's talking about.
No, gosh, yeah.
The greatest land on planet Earth.
God's earth, God's country.
You ever heard that song? You ever heard that song? Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam. And
Yeah.
That applies to that, where my dad is.
Cool.
On the reserve. Yeah, there are bison on the reserve, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But we're not supposed to kill them, though.
Oh, I bet you guys hate that, eh? Every time you see one, you're just licking your lips.
Look at them. Yeah, me too. And they're licking their lips, too. I was like, oh, gosh.
All right, so let's transition here. I got the other piece of work here. Okay, so I wrote this about 2 weeks after the influx of refugees into Europe. It became very apparent to me that there's something really fucked up going on with Europe. Like beyond, personally, when I was looking at that take place, I was traumatized. Hey,
Nick, let me interrupt you for 1 second. Before we went live, you mentioned that you were going back and watching some of my older videos. Did you happen to watch the one I made about the immigration crisis? The one
Yes. Yeah, I
Okay.
was listening. I listened for about 20 minutes of it. I didn't really have a chance to
long.
listen to the whole thing. Yeah,
It's long.
So I figured because I wrote this and I started flipping back into your older channels with your older stuff. I go, you know what? Let me share what I wrote during this whole migrant crisis. I don't know. I have a date on it somewhere, but I think it was 2015 it happened, if I'm not correct, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so I wrote this shortly after the migrant crisis was taking place, and I had some free time when I was in Cambodia. You know, I wasn't really working hard. You know, I had time to ruminate and think and really just ponder what the fuck
What else are you going
is
to do
going
in
on.
Cambodia?
Right, besides get laid. Right, you know.
Okay.
Are you going to
Right.
write about the
So
rainforest?
I wrote 8. I'm not going to share the what I wrote inside of them unless we discuss
Why
each
not?
one, and then I can share it. Well, because I just did my top 15 psychopaths. I'm not going to do this one, you know.
Yeah.
So this
Go ahead.
one's
Just
8.
condense it. Yeah,
Yeah.
condense.
Right. So I'm condensing it. I'm going to read the 8. And then we can discuss each one and dissect each one and come up with a theory on what we may think is really happening in Europe or what happened at that time. So number 1, was it humanitarian? Okay, that's number 1. Humanitarian, just remember this is what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Humanitarian is number 1. 2 is repopulate Germany's aging demographic. 3, suicidal European Union, where they're completely broke and they just put a gun to their fucking face and said, "Fuck it, we're ending it all here right now." Okay, that's suicidal European Union. Germany controls the European Union. Never forget that. It's not another country. The EU is Germany. Germany's the anchor to the EU. 4, further further destabilization of Syria. 5, war with Russia. 6, a greater Israel. 7, killing off white Europeans. Or 8, exposure to Western values to the Muslims.
What? Whoa.
Okay, let's go backwards then. Let's start with what you just said.
Yeah.
Exposure to Western values. Okay. What if you were uprooted? What if you were to uproot Orthodox Muslims from their way of living for centuries, bring them to Europe, expose them to every vice under the sun, usury, homosexuality,
Divorce.
feminism, and then you were to keep them in Europe, expose them for, expose maybe one or 2 generations, give or take, and then send them back to their lands after being exposed to those vices.
I don't know if they'd even have to send them back to their lands if that was a part of the motivation, but by saying that exposing Muslims to the culture, you can look at it both ways. You can exposing Muslims to the Western culture and exposing Western culture to the Muslims.
But what's easier what trap is it easier to fall under? The vices, like we're talking about the hedonism? Is it easier to ooh, I like that. Ooh, I like gambling.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hedonism is definitely the vice that it would fall under the trap to try to change that concept. But at the same time, it's a win-win in that case, because at the same time what you're doing is you're disrupting the sort of flow.
What's the objective of this? Like, what are you trying to do?
You have to break Islam. The bottom line is Islam's got to go, because it's the complete counter to this fucking insanity.
To hedonism.
Is it not?
Hedonistic culture. Islam is the complete counter to that. You're
complete opposite. So, and it takes it to an extreme. We're going to throw you off a fucking rooftop.
When I think about
it's Muslim, a no.
Yeah. When I think about Muslim beliefs, to me it's just like they're going to kill themselves for a god.
Well, you're not fucking with that. Are you gonna fucking die for your Xbox and your fucking gasoline tank that you huff out of?
Absolutely. No, man.
I don't huff. I have a bike, man. Like, if my bike runs out of
if the natives actually wanted to die for the fucking land they think is theirs, there wouldn't be fucking reservations, dude.
Correct.
That's how powerful that model is.
Well, that's how powerful Islam is.
It's exactly.
and
That's how
So
powerful.
why not expose the
if they're gonna
Muslims
die
to
for
mini skirts and fucking porn and gambling and credit
bacon.
cards and
they don't do all
baking
that.
and McDonald's? Right. It's
They
very
don't do all
tempting.
that. Right?
Yeah.
Look, it's very
So-
easy to fucking give it. When you come to America, it's real easy to be like, fuck all that shit.
Hey, my
So,
neighbors,
like,
my neighbors next to me are Syrian, Afghani. They're Afghani, and they've been here 7
Mhm.
years. They're part of the fucking North American lottery of like, hey, you want to come to our
break.
country?
I'll be right back.
You want to come to our country? We know it's all bad over there.
Mhm.
We're going to help you come here, because this is the one thing that I have to say about a lot of this immigration, and I'm living next door to it right now.
Mhm.
I talked to this guy, picked his brain, and I'm like, look, tell me the story. Like, what the fuck happened? Why are you here? Why Canada? Why here? Why this place?
Hey, I'm Lillian Harper, and I would love to know more about what you
The fuck is that?
Sorry.
Is that your sex robot?
No, it's fucking, I'm trying to. This is fucking. I was trying to find that another narcissistic article, and there's like a fucking ad in the corner that fucking went off. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I get it. But anyway, like these people aren't coming here because of this, on the strength of their own will, right?
No, they're being displaced.
Yes, they're being displaced, and a lot of these Afghani refugees, for example, the guy that lives next to me, he was already displaced, but then had an opportunity to come out, to leave the place he was displaced to.
Mm-hmm.
So it was not, he was not a refugee to Canada out of save my life. It was an economic advantage that was given to him.
Okay, guys,
Offered
I'm
up to
back.
him.
Okay.
Right? Now, this is the thing. If these, and again, I like your idea of just trying to destroy Islamic beliefs by pushing them into the fucking dirty crotch of European
Right. Bingo. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
right?
So, like,
Well, hold on.
instance-
Let me just finish this for a
go
second. This guy,
Yeah.
These refugees, they're not coming to Canada and America because if they don't, the ghost of Saddam Hussein is going to cut their heads off, right?
Oh,
They're coming here because someone else is fucking paying for it. Someone
Right,
else
okay.
is
that's
putting
me.
together a
That's
very
me.
large infrastructure. Okay,
That's me.
so
I'm paying into it.
yeah, well, you're paying for it. Yeah, exactly. You're paying for it. The taxpayers are paying for it to some degree. But I mean, I don't know. I don't have evidence of exactly how that works. But obviously something else is going on. You can't just displace. And again, a lot of these refugees have already been displaced. A lot of the Somalis from Africa. There's a lot of them here too.
But this could go back to the Vietnamese coming to America. I forgot what the population, the Vietnamese
Chinese.
population in the U.S. is, but it's I think it's like 1 or 2 million. They
Mhm.
came over. Same
Yeah.
with the Cambodians. I mean, so as soon as America goes about bombing all these fucking countries, we open the doors to them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, like, what's
So,
the use to that?
Yeah.
Like, I know you guys. Well, I should.
So if you
guys,
The concept is if you expose them to all these type of things, they're easy to control, manipulate. We
Yes.
talked about this the last conversation you weren't here for, is that if you're able to uproot these people, it's easy to control them because they have no connection with the land that they're on. You can
yes.
destroy their culture. You expose them to Facebook. You expose them to the credit card. You expose them to who's Sigmund Freud's cousin, with the one that he talks about materialism, and you identify with the materials that you buy. What the hell is his name?
The guy that engineered smoking for women. God,
Right. And how the car, it's not Freud, Bernays.
Bernays, yeah, Bernays. That's right.
Bernays. So you expose them to those type of concepts, which some of it I'm not against it. Like I buy certain clothes and all those type of things. Some of these things make me happy, but again, some people take it to an extreme.
Yeah.
So Is
Well,
that what is that part of the well, this is just number 8 we're talking about. We still got another 7 to fucking
I
go
know.
here.
I know.
Oh
I
God.
know.
So that's where I'm saying exposing the Western values, you brainwash them, send them back to the fucking, their fucking desert, and then they're easier to, maybe abort. I had that abortion when I was in Frankfurt last year, so.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if
Well,
they even
no.
have to send them back. I wonder if it's just enough to take them out of their country, politicize it, spread it through
They're going to want to
media,
go
social.
back. They're going to want to go back.
Mhm.
They're going to want to go back to their own land. Even though it's all nice and dandy and wonderful where they live, it's not their fucking country. Cambodians don't want to leave Cambodia. Like, yeah, America sounds great, but we're all
No,
right
same
here.
with
I'm good.
Indonesians don't want to leave Indonesia, man. They don't want to.
Right. So no matter what, as much as you may think fucking Syria is a shithole, it's still their shithole, and they're
Yeah.
happy living in that
That's their
shithole.
Absolutely.
But
Okay.
I'd like to say one thing is that like all this stuff about the refugees, the immigrants coming to North America and
When
stuff.
invaders, barbarians, but go on.
Like Bruce, like it ties into what I said earlier.
Improvers of cultures.
Yeah, like it ties into what I said about Bruce Lee. When he came from Hong Kong to, I think it was Seattle where he landed, right? And he went there and he faced so much, oh, this guy's a Chinese guy. We don't need a Chinese guy here. The funny thing is that when he was going to, I think it was university or college, I forgot, in Seattle, he had to face that those Americans would really put a lot of pressure on him to be American. And the funny thing is I was watching the documentary last night, and one of his students said that his style of fighting is American, which I think is wrong, because if you call Bruce Lee's philosophy a style, if he was still alive, he'd probably slap you for that, because to him, style is like a box. You have limited movement, and being in a jail cell, you can't figure out yourself in the jail cell. You can go nuts, Anyways, yeah. So, oh, excuse me.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got that's the exposure to Western values. So let's do the most talked about, especially with the MGTOW fringe, is the killing off of white Europeans. European citizens are being written off as a total fucking loss.
Hey, and I'd like to represent MGTOW for a moment here. We don't fucking think.
Not us. We're normal. We're not talking about me and you. We're talking about certain elements.
We're sociable. And,
yeah, we're normal.
Yeah,
look, you have a half-breed baby and you convert it to another religion. I mean, I'm a brown midget monkey from New York, right?
Used to be at Madison Square Garden, man. Fucking party.
And we have a One Nationer.
Yeah, a horse eater.
Right, who huffs gasoline behind a fucking behind his buddies. He's the assistant manager of a small liquor store that
his cousin's house. All right, so here we are at what did you say, to destroy white European culture?
Killing off. Okay, number 8 was exposure to Western values. We're going backwards now. 7, killing off white Europeans. European citizens are being written off as a total loss. The rest of the world looks in shock and horror at the inevitable, disastrous outcome that will come to full fruition within the next half century. The western half of the continent will experience a war similar to that of the wars in the Balkans, falling on racial lines in a street-by-street, urban-to-urban combat. European whites versus everyone else. Once the non-natives reach a threshold point in population, this is a nightmarish outcome. If you were to breed out people of European descent, the ruling class will have rogue shot, as any last vassal of freedom can be and will be extinguished. So the barbarians didn't even have to knock at the gate. You just let them right in.
Right. Now that's
so can anyone else show me a place and time where this has happened, where you actually let the enemy in right into your fucking country like that?
I wouldn't be able to. I'm sure maybe it's
Right.
happened.
The Romans did it. They granted citizenship to the Germanic tribes because their numbers were down, population was plummeting, so on and so forth. So they started giving out passports,
Mm.
citizenships to a bunch of Germanic tribes, and that helped Rome's decline in the latter. I think maybe the 3rd or 4th century or something
Well,
like that. So
here's an interesting addition to what you just mentioned is that the populations of just about every country that has white or pale skin is declining, is in decline. They're not reproducing.
mhm.
That includes Japanese,
You know, we call them
Korean.
on the Blood Reserve. We call them pink people. They're not white. They're pink. It's like, there's a pink guy and a pink
Why?
woman on the reserve.
Oh, you're talking about white people, though.
Yeah.
You're talking about white people. Okay.
No, anyways, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Well, what I'm saying is that they're not reproducing. The rate of reproduction, the reproduction numbers in most Western societies falls below the ability to replicate itself, which is 2.1, which is each woman must have 2.1 children. I think
Right. Either 2 or 3 kids.
Well, 2.1, the point one is there. Okay, 2 is there because a woman replicates herself and her mate, right? So those 2 people have replaced
and the
themselves.
point 1 is whoever dies off in the process.
Yeah, he dies in the process, doesn't have kids, etc., etc. Right? So if you look at these numbers, Canada, America, Australia, Europe, most countries where white, air quotes, white people live are far below the 2.1 average in order to replicate its population. In other words, they're becoming extinct.
Here in Canada?
Absolutely. Canada is very low.
It's across the board.
Across the board. Japan is the worst. I think the worst in the world is Japan. It's like 1.3. Like they're dead. Japan is going to be overrun by geriatrics.
It'll level off. I mean, it'll be. They're not going to go away completely. There's just going to be a leveling off. But that's Japan. We're not talking about Europe because again, this is number 7, which is killing off white Europeans.
Yes.
So.
Oh yeah.
But what I'm saying is that it's interesting because the facts are white Europeans are becoming extinct if you go by the numbers. I'm not saying that that's inevitable. I'm just saying by the numbers.
There's a term that I heard. It's called watered down.
Yes.
If a white man,
vodka, right? You know vodka, right?
Yeah.
You love
too much water in it. You put too much water in it.
It doesn't taste like, or it has its own taste.
Exactly. Watered down.
It's not original.
Yeah.
You know, there's no name for it or a brand.
Right.
Yeah. And the same thing with wine. That's what Bruce Lee said. He said, you mix wine with water or you dilute it, there's no actual brand of it. There's nothing
exactly
coming out of it. That's your own taste, right?
Okay, but going back to what number 7 is, you kill off whites. What you're able to do, what you're able to run rogueshot over the country much more because again, these people don't really know what freedom is. They don't know what the Magna Carta is. They don't know what these type of concepts are.
You could say that a lot of white cultures are sort of the foundation of modern infrastructure. You could say.
Absolutely.
When I say about a native man that gets a white woman pregnant, right, and they have children, you know what I call them? I call them watered down natives.
Yeah, well, absolutely. You're watering down white people.
Yeah.
Or native at the same time, you know.
If white people were vodka, you wouldn't drink it, buddy. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I'll probably have one drink and say, no, that's not for me.
So what's number 6?
Okay. Number 6. Hang on, wait. Let me pull it back up. Where are we? Number 6, a greater Israel. Let's not kid ourselves. Israel has always wanted the Golan Heights and have attacked Syria with impunity and not a peep from any sides from the fight mentioned this, that Israel keeps going in attacking Syria. Russia turns a blind eye to it, and obviously the West is in Israel's sphere of influence, or vice versa. Many people argue that the two bars on the Israeli flag represent the Nile and Euphrates River, as in anything in between represents a greater Israel. But to me, this doesn't seem plausible, that the simple fact that the Jews are also declining in birth rate.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
this concept that that Israel's going to be bigger is a fallacy, because Israel's
Jews
also
aren't
exposed. They're not reproducing, also correct. So they fall into the whole category. They fall into the white camp, where they're not reproducing and putting up the numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and again, this
like a military science subject. So these Israelis, are they dying off young, like just kids that have guns?
No, they're just not. They're exposed to feminism and shit. Yeah,
they're not reproducing. You can't survive as a culture if you don't fucking have kids. It's as simple as that.
But this also ties into. No one wants to talk. Wait, stop. Wait, hold on. Let me finish this. This is also a topic about Palestine. The reason why the Israelis are pushing Palestinians into ghettos and stuff like that is to make sure their population tries to plummet also. Because if Palestinians' numbers keep rising and Israelis keep plummeting, guess what? A bunch of Israelis are gonna get killed. But we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that concept because the Jews know if they keep producing in numbers, they're going to be under the fucking gun again.
Yeah.
Okay. Where does all this stem from? That's what I'm always thinking about, because I always heard about.
We're not going to that. Then now you get into biblical shit. Bottom line is Muslims and Jews fucking hate each other.
They hate each other. They fucking hate each other.
Yeah.
But they both.
The problem is, like, they're killing each other. But what is the root? Is it religious or political reasons?
Both. Yeah.
It's biological. It's religious. It's political. It's both.
So a lot of people think that this is all a big plan, master plan. That if you start attacking, if you bring Muslims into Europe, and there's more bombings in America, that Netanyahu or whatever the Israeli government's going to say, "Come to Israel. We need your numbers. We need your wombs. Come and make Israel great again," so to speak. And hey, look, we just expanded to the Tigris fucking river. But the truth is, the Israelis wouldn't be able to hold on to those territories for that long, because they just don't have the demographics.
Yeah, they don't have the numbers.
Hey, well, what about the refugees that come so far from, like, where's the other country? They came to here, to Lethbridge, and I'm kind of like thinking, what do you guys
Somalia, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan.
There's Ethiopian Israelis.
I'm thinking, like, why are you here in Lethbridge? Couldn't you
Syrians? Because they were first of all, they were displaced out of their own country in the beginning, and they moved to neighboring countries. Huh? Because of political violence, basically.
Yeah.
And then they were displaced out of their original country to a neighboring country. All right. After they were safe in a neighboring country. Huh?
Yeah, but how did they make their way here?
Well, they made their way here because fucking you and I paid for it, unbeknownst to ourselves.
Right, because this is part of the bigger plan to displace everybody.
Yeah,
let's stick them in fucking Canada. That's a brilliant idea.
Exactly. Somebody has to pay for it, and it's us.
Okay.
You've weaponized the tax base.
The next time I see a guy or a couple from Syria say, "Hey, how come you're not thanking me? I fucking pay taxes for like."
Well, because they're probably uncomfortable. They're like, "Jesus, what the fuck are we doing in the middle of fuck all Canada?"
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do it in a kinder voice.
Confused.
Yeah, I'll be like, "Hey, you came to my country or my land."
Well, that's what you Indians tell us white people all the time.
Right, now you got Syrians to go fucking cry to. What are you? You're like a broken record. Why are you here? Wait, why are you here?
No, I just do it in my head. I just do it in my head, and you're like, okay,
do it. Get your fucking tomahawk out, damn it.
Scalp?
Come on.
I'll show you fucking. I'll show you. I'll show you some jihad. Welcome to fucking One Nation, bitch.
I don't have those weapons. I don't carry those weapons.
Oh, well, you're such a... So all you have is your fucking balavaca and your midget porn.
Oh. Yeah. Are you jealous of that?
Okay, all right, let's move on.
to number
Let's
6.
move on.
Okay, yeah. Let's move on. I got it.
We're on number 5, actually. Okay.
Oh, number 5.
Number 5 is, now this is a little bit dated, but this was my theory at the time when it all happened. Maybe it still holds true. War with Russia. Now that Assad's military has defected and they've claimed asylum or refugee status, Germany now has a legitimate fighting force of fucking men. These guys are fucking the former Syrian Arab army. These men have served and fought a formidable paramilitary enemy the world has never seen for quite some time. I mean, ISIS and Al Qaeda. I mean, they were pretty. Look, they did it without fucking air power. Give them a lot of fucking credit. Okay,
Yeah.
they were pretty serious. Okay, but would these men actually do fighting on behest of NATO? Is the bigger question. What about the linguistics barrier? It's not something very plausible, but it's something worth considering that Germany now has men. Let's be real, white European males are a bunch of faggots. They're a bunch of faggots. I'm sorry. Your vegan diet and socialism is completely backfired on you, and you're a fucking pathetic loser.
You got no teeth.
And you got invaded.
No testosterone.
You got invaded. Yeah, you got invaded. Let's be real. You did nothing. You were still too busy sipping fucking coffee and looking at the birds when this was going on. So now you have the Syrian Arab army in your fucking country.
Yeah.
At your door. It's not women that are in Europe. It's men, and they're all between 18 and like 40, right? So that is, in fact, the Syrian middle class. And it's the Syrian Arab army. Would you rather go and fight ISIS, or would you rather fucking drink hot cocoa in Sweden? What's a better deal? So that's my other one on number 5, which is war with Russia. If you care to toast that, what would you think?
That's an interesting one. I don't know how plausible that one is.
It's something worth considering, right? You never thought of it like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely worth considering. Definitely. The geopolitics of it, and again, geography. It does kind of make sense. And a lot of people don't understand this, but a lot of politics and a lot of political leanings and movements through history globally have to do with very simple, very simple, basic concept. Where are you sitting? Where are you geographically?
Well, again, if you were to go to fight Russia, you'll get crushed. You need men to go and fucking do this, right? So again, now you have a legitimate fighting force. You can false flag it or some bullshit to get these fucking refugees to go and fight. Well, whatever. It's just a body count. Just throw fucking bodies at it. You know what I mean? That's the concept. When it comes to war, you're a number. And I don't care where your background is. Just get in there and just start shooting shit. So that's where number 5 came in from with this war with Russia concept.
And I think again, a lot of go back to any war in any time in history, and the number one motivation behind it or influence of it was geographics. It was my land, how much of it I have, and what it's worth. Really, it has to do with that. So you talking about, think about Russia geographically compared to, say, Afghanistan, Iraq, the upper Middle East geography. So it does make a little bit of sense to me. It does. Makes a little bit of sense.
Okay. Let's move on. Sorry, I'm trying to clear my throat here. Number 4, a little bit tied into number 5 with the war in Russia. Assad, let's go with the false flag, Assad gassing his own people that failed to gain traction amongst Western citizens. It was shortly thereafter ISIS came into the scene. Actually, it was like a couple weeks after the whole gassing, ISIS came into the scene, and Europe manufactured the refugee crisis. Instead of setting up safe zones within Syria, which Trump made suggestions to, you move Assad's regular army into Europe, further destabilizing the Syrian government, a government's ability to fight off jihadists. The timing of the refugee crisis could not have been better planned. If A and B don't work, try C. Now, this pulls Iran further into Syria, which Iran doesn't want to do. So because you pull all the fucking men out of Syria, the Syrian government is going to fucking collapse. So what does that do? Iran has no choice but to send its own fucking troops in to help Syria out.
Mm. Yes.
Right?
So, like,
Right. So if let's say, again, it goes back to, okay, so this didn't work. Okay, the false flag gassing the people don't work. Okay, shit, that didn't fucking work. Okay, so what do we got? What is the next plan that do we have to do? Oh, I got a great idea. Why don't we let's open up the borders and let all the fucking Syrian army guys into Germany. This way, Assad has no troops anymore. And it's also worth mentioning that Assad announced a blanket amnesty to all those who defected into Europe to get them to go back to Syria and fight off the jihadists.
You know what Assad? You know what Assad used to do? I just did my research on them. Those guys were so crooked, and they would cut the faces off of their victims, right? And they would kind of like wear them around and say, "Oh, I killed."
You talking about what, Assad's family?
Yeah.
No, it
Remember?
it's like a death group or gang, you know, and they would do stuff like that. And,
No, he's talking about the leader of Syria.
oh, okay. Oh, jeez, yeah. No, I just got back from my break.
So that's one that gets tied in with number 5, which is with the war with Russia. But again, you know, he mentioned he's blanket amnesty to all Assyrians in Europe to just come back. You won't get arrested. You won't be tried for treason or showing cowardice against the enemy. Just come back and fight. So again, it pulls Iran into Syria further destabilizing the region and so on and so forth. Right?
Yeah. I can understand that. I so far I'd say that's the least likely, but
well, it's actually I worked it backwards. I went the most ridiculous to the most plausible. I think the exposure to Western values is the most plausible, and then the killing off the whites seems second, so on and so forth. So I worked it backwards. So by number 1, you're gonna be like, oh, that's fucking stupid.
Okay, well, let's go to the next one.
Okay, suicidal European Union. With Germany's already aging demographic, coupled with poor long-term physical financial policy, the last thing to break this country's back was bailing out Greece and the sanctions on Russia. Imploring not to, for reasons too long to discuss with you guys, you know, in this live chat, Germany is and has been carrying the rest of the EU with its industrial might. And why should they? Why should Germany fucking bail everybody out? Many of the more well-off nations in Europe aren't even tied to the EU. Sweden, maybe Sweden is, but Norway and England aren't, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're subsidizing the likes of Italy, Portugal, Spain, and obviously what I just said was Greece. You also have the strong possibility of the Trans-Pacific Partnership deal, where America and the rest of the world, for this matter, is simply done with Europe. I mean, just fuck Europe. I mean, that's what was behind the Pacific Partnership deal, was we're just going to cut Europe off completely and not do business with them anymore. The crux of this theory is Germany decided to commit suicide to spite the rest of the EU members. If you don't listen to me and do as I say, I will bite my own hand to stop feeding you. And now with Brexit and its ramifications to Germany, it's now even backed Germany further into a corner. And so I think a lot of the German government said, you know what, I'm just going to pull the fucking gun on myself and fuck the rest of these countries.
Yeah.
Why do?
That's a possibility. Again, like you said, less plausible than what you mentioned before.
Well, this seems to be, what did I write here? This seems to be a very plausible. It's a very mainstream narrative. I hear a lot of intellectuals speak of. Is this
Yeah.
one? But if you are the EU and you're the heads of the EU and you got to keep bailing Greece out, Brexit's happening. England doesn't want to do business with you. Norway's not part of your fucking business. Switzerland isn't part of the EU. So Germany is subsidizing all these fucking basket case Mediterranean countries that are really lazy.
Yeah.
So Germany's just like, you know what? I'm sick of this shit. You know what I'm going to do? Come on in. Bring all the Muslims in and just tank their own fucking economy. This way the rest of the nations tank along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that would to me would signal sort of a the people that are running the show in Germany and as such the EU, they don't have much of an investment in the country itself.
Well, they don't have kids of their own. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They don't give a flying fuck. What makes you think they care? They don't really care. And also, look, in all honesty, I'm looking at Europeans, and they seem to travel. They don't seem to really work that much, and they seem to be really fucking wealthy.
Absolutely.
I'm in America schlepping away here, fucking, miserable, and my military protects their fucking countries.
Yeah.
America's fucking might subsidizes fucking Europe's narcissism and their fucking indulgence of wine and cheese.
Right.
Right? I mean, that's bullshit. So, you know what? It's time you have to pay the fucking piper. This is your fucking mess. You guys haven't fucking worked in 50 goddamn years.
Yeah.
And partying and fucking, traveling the world and free health care. But guess what? Now it's time to pay. The devil's here now. It's time for you to pay up.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, 2.
Understand. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
Let's do number 2. Repopulating Germany's aging demographic. And we've heard this one, God, how many times? And this is
the demographic is aging, that's for sure.
Right. This is a usual knee-jerk comment made by most political pundits, but it doesn't hold credibility. Now, granted, in order to fulfill such outlandish public spending that Germany has done for the past 30 years, you would need a sustainable demographic to compensate for the numbers. The Syrian refugees, if not all of them, are in fact the Syrian middle class. They have money. They are merchants, scientists, tradesmen, merchants, etc. going and, blah, 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 right? That's who they are. They're not fucking poor peasant farmers. They have to pay their way into Europe to begin with. The ones that are stuck in Syria are the ones that have no fucking money, and they're the ones getting blown up, and they're the ones that actually need the most. They're the ones that actually need the most help, not the ones paying. Yeah, go on.
Any Syrian here now in Canada, they're not the ones that needed to be here.
No,
right? Yeah.
They're not the ones that fucking needed to be here, because this is not some kind of altruistic fucking motion of Pierre Trudeau or the son of Pierre Trudeau to fucking move poor ravaged refugees into the country. That's the political narrative, the popular narrative, manufactured consent.
What really confuses me is that when I call for a cab, right, say from the bar, the last time the one time that I got a cab from the bar, right, I was wasted and stuff, and the cab driver, he was from a Middle Eastern country, and he hated natives. He didn't know I was native. He thought I was.
He hated Indians. Okay.
He hated native.
Well, I call them Indians.
Yeah.
So.
And he's like, oh, they never pay for my cab ride, and I have to call the cops, and it's a long day. And I was just like, well, just to let you know, I'm a native, First Nations person, and you're gonna drive me home. You're gonna say that I'm paying you for a cab ride.
Again, where was your tomahawk, man? Like, seriously.
Oh, come on. Nick.
This is what I'm talking about. Stop being a simp.
Yeah, you got a lot of
lop his head.
Yeah, man. The Muslim. If that was a Muslim guy, he would have fucking cut his head off right then and there.
I know you should have
but
fucking roasted his ass and put him on a skewer and barbecue him.
no, what I did is kill him with kindness. I said,
Oh, oh,
That's
you
what
know,
got
that
you
is
guys on
so
reservation.
Canadian of you.
That's what got you on reservation.
well,
That's what got you on the reservation.
us Canadians, we're just too damn, right? We're gonna have a war here, within a cab car, and like, oh yeah, you don't like natives? I'm native.
Well,
like,
Koreans don't like natives either.
But to bring in a culture, a society that is polar opposite that of Europeans is obviously not the correct way of changing and fixing your demographic issue.
There's nothing beneficial or altruistic about that move. Nothing.
Right, and again, I wrote here, what is not spoken about is the refugees are predominantly male and the fighting age, and many of them already served in the Syrian Arab army.
Yeah.
If the demographics are an issue, why not loosen restrictions on countries that are more compatible of your own?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
So we can rule out that argument.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, why does he has to be so narcissistic or
Narcissistic?
Who?
Yeah, towards, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you're coming from a war-torn country into my country, and you have to try to tell me what to do. I'm paying you my money towards you to support yourself and your family or whatnot, because your country is war-torn. And you come here and you just complain about the lack of money and the living conditions. No. If you do that towards me, if you came from Israel, Afghanistan, whatever country, and you complain about that to me, I will lose my mind. I did that at work about a month ago. Oh my God.
Well, you have to understand, man.
Well, why would somebody ask for their cans back? And he can't speak fairly good English. And it was just like, what do you want? I don't want my money back. I want my cans and everything you put in those barrels back. It's like, nah, that doesn't work around here. I'm giving you $19.
Well, you got to remember.
$19.
Dude, you got to remember,
this is what you earn.
You got to remember, you're talking about, you're criticizing this guy coming from a war-torn country to this country, but you got to remember, 300 years ago, the Europeans came here, and this was a war-torn country.
Yeah.
This was a war-torn country. It wasn't a country. It was a large, vast stretch of land of Indians killing each other.
Yeah, and it's conducted by those white people.
No. I mean, the native population were vicious.
Oh yeah,
they're absolutely vicious. But anyway,
we're territorial, and we're still territorial.
And now we have a nation.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, let's get into the next one. What's the next one?
Oh yeah.
Well, last but not least, and the most retarded is humanitarian, with a non-aggression principles coupled with a I don't know, some type of agreement. It's the SCHENGEN. It's a Saigon agreement, which is the agreement that allows the borders to be open amongst European countries. So, I can, if I was a German citizen, I can go to France with complete ease. I mean, it's a porous border.
Yeah.
Germany decided to act in a virtuous but self-defeating altruistic behavior by importing people, a culture that is polar opposite of their own. The German citizens have been literally brainwashed going back to the days of denazification, to the point where they feel that it's better to punish themselves collectively for being German, which is obviously associated with fascism and racism, than it is to defend their nation. Germans are constantly reminded by the rest of the world what took place some odd 70 years ago. This cultural masochistic behavior is so shockingly nefarious that many women opt out of childbearing over this guilt.
So that's like that's like white guilt.
White guilt, yes.
The origin of white guilt.
All right. So in a sense, by letting people of another society, it shows the world how compassionate and tolerate the Germans and European citizens are. What needs to be brought to light under the term what needs to be brought to light under the term humanitarianism in this circumstances is, did Germany prepare for the massive influx of migrants? Was measures put into place, logistical, housing, food, field hospital, schools, or any basic infrastructure for that matter? So they just decided to open the borders up without putting any infrastructure in place to take on this mass influx. Was this well planned in advance? No. What about how to handle migrants years later on? With this being said, I would not consider this very humanitarian for the migrants or the citizens of Europe. So all you did was aggravate both sides. You've aggravated the migrants coming in. You're unprepared for them, and you aggravated the German citizens, where they're like, we don't want these fucking people. So this concept of humanitarianism with the migrant crisis does not seem to have any fucking weight to it whatsoever.
Well, it's very narcissistic to feign
I'm back.
basically empathy or empathetic actions. Isn't that narcissistic, to feign empathetic actions, to say, look at me, look how good I am.
Yeah, without understanding what you've done, without realizing you've just really just screwed over everybody by doing this.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, man, of all these, after hearing all of these, I would say that the best conclusion anyone could come to is that there is definitely evidence, observable evidence of social engineering happening.
So you think the one that I think is the most plausible? You find that to be the most plausible too?
I think so. Yeah, I do.
Well, right. Yes. Awesome.
I do.
Glad to hear that.
I do.
I'm psyched, man. Thank you.
Yeah,
All this talk about narcissism, it's pretty much like fluent towards like the political and it's people that work for the government, right? That take advantage of this mindset, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of rolls downhill. That rolls downhill, you know. And it comes down to what we do in life, right? Because we're told what to do, right? Like I've been told what to do by a woman for 2 years, you know, like a woman being my boss. I don't take that. I don't like it. And for you,
nobody likes to have a woman boss, not even other women.
But
and that's
like,
fucking
like it brings your life down a bit. And like for you, I am like you have the people from a different country saying, "Hey, you do this and do that." Like, does it get to you at times?
No. No, man. I mean, when I was in Indonesia, I was in education. I mean, and when you're in education, you're fucking. There's gonna be at least one woman that's fucking has to tell you what to do. Women dominate education everywhere.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm fucking used to it, man.
Oh yeah.
Well, I just want to. What I wrote here at the conclusion, again, this is going back what now 2.5 years. I'm not too sure what the driving force is behind the refugee crisis. There are many ways of looking at it from a single point of view. You know, a lot of people will say this must be the reason, and the same goes for a lot of MGTOW guys, where it's hypergamy. It's hypergamy. No, because if it's hypergamy, why is she fucking the degenerate loser?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it can't be fucking hypergamy. So I get really sick and tired of that fucking argument. So one must have a kaleidoscopic view in order to decipher this issue, and all 8 can be wrapped into one. In many ways, it's killing 8 birds with one stone. So all of these kind of have a little bit of merit to it, but I do tend to believe that the exposure to Western values seems to be the most plausible.
Yeah. Well, I mean. And I think when you hear MGTOW say it's hypergamy, I mean, what they're looking at to say that is they're going, why are all these women holding up signs inviting their rapists into the country.
Mm.
And that's
Well,
where,
yeah.
that's
It's
that's
just-
where that narrative comes from. But in my opinion, that's not necessarily hypergamy as much as it is female nature.
Mhm.
But women, we're going back to women. Wait, women don't understand the ramifications. You want to know why? Because they're not. It's not going to affect them because they're always going to find a guy to fuck them and protect them.
Guess
Whether
what?
it be a brown-skinned Muslim or it's going to be the guys that have to suffer the consequences of their insanity.
But Nick, I hate to break it to you, that is hypergamy. You see, and this is and let me explain it this way: men in life sink or swim.
Mhm.
Women,
Yeah, that's true.
because of hypergamy,
Yeah.
they float.
Mhm.
Women don't sink, neither do they swim.
No, yeah.
They float.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My
I mean,
friend,
what
my
do you
friend,
think? All these old couples that live to their 100 years and stuff. What I've always studied is that they communicate with each other, and it's always the woman that says,
Well-
calm down there. You
what I was going to say with the hypergamy floats is, again, I learned this concept from a fellow MGTOW guy who, by the way, as we close this off, I have talked to and may be available next week. So you guys listening, Paul Proteus might be able to talk with me again next week. I'll confirm it and put something up. But the point I'm making is he coined the phrase to me. Maybe he didn't create it, but to me, he was the one that introduced me to the concept. Hypergamy floats. In life, men sink or swim.
Yeah,
And it's based entirely on their ability to function as a man in this society. Women don't have to. And this is hypergamy. It floats. They can wait. They can be picky. They just float and wait for that one to snag them. And so they don't have to deal with the consequences of all these Muslims coming into the country. Sure, they're fucking goat herders, but it doesn't matter.
They'll still fuck them.
They're floating. They're floating because hypergamy, in the end, that's their life jacket.
So if these immigrants that come here into Lethbridge, right? Like to me, it seems like the man has a lot of power over the woman, right? By saying, hey, you're covered in your traditional robe. You can't turn at any other man. You can't do that to these people because it's against us. What's that sound?
I have cookies.
It's a woman opening her burqa.
Oh, I didn't know it would be that frozen. Hey, Nick, is it snowing down there in New York?
No, the weather's beautiful.
Oh, you should be up here with us because it's nice.
It's fucking
and
freezing.
What,
right now.
snowing?
Yeah.
Like I always say, I don't like the snow because it's white and it's on my land. No, I love this.
They think, you're racist. White people pass the pink skin.
Yeah. I don't like this country music song because that white man's singing. I thought he was black.
That reminds me of a joke. How come Indians don't like aspirin?
Because it doesn't get them high.
No, because it's white and it works.
Oh, gosh.
You can replace Indian for black too if you want to make that joke more culturally appropriate in America.
Okay, I'll tell you another joke. I was watching porn one night, right? And this one black guy was fucking this tiny white chick and smacking her ass, saying, "Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?" And she's like, "You are." So I went out with this one girl, and I was doing the same thing. I was like, "Oh, I'm very influenced by that black guy. I'm going to fuck this girl from behind." I stuck her ass. Like, "Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?" And she turned around. She said, "I don't know."
Yeah, you already told us that joke, man.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. That's great.
Yeah, he told us.
Oh,
That.
You know,
All right, guys.
I wanted to touch one more. All right, you want to leave?
Well, you got one more thing to say. Do it, and then we'll close
I
it.
just want to going
No,
back to what we were
let's do
talking.
all nighter. Come on.
No, man. This is it.
Nah,
Just kidding. No.
we'll do it again next week, gang.
Next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
That's if you're not high behind high behind a fucking strip mall.
Okay, I'm not high behind the wall.
Put
Hold on.
away the fucking
Fucking
hairspray.
reliving.
Okay, I smoked a pipe outside. That's why.
Look, you're reliving your boxing years. Let's be honest. And you're like, I was there.
Well, I'm too old to do that. And you're like, yeah,
You're the Junko partner of the middle of Canada.
Oh, gosh, Nick.
Okay, what were we gonna say, Nick? Close this off here.
I just wanted to touch base with when you're dealing. The worst thing about dealing with someone that is a narcissist or a psychopath, more of the narcissist, a narcissistic girl,
Mhm.
is you'll forever always. It's like a ghost inside your brain, inside of you. I still think about her quite often. I haven't seen her in about 8 years, but she's still inside of me, like a little ghost. And what's more fucked up, what really is fucked up, is what I learned through her is how I can treat, manipulate, and use people. And the things she taught me about myself, about how fucked up I am as an individual.
Yeah.
She became a mirror. And the most creepiest thing she ever said to me, pretty much towards the end, and once I realized that she's completely nuts, what she said to me was, "I dish what you serve, Nick. I dish what you serve.
What?
I do as you do to me." So the way I was treating her, she was in fact she was a mirror of what I was actually doing, and she was right. So what I was trying to do, when I was trying to control and manipulate her, she was actually doing it right back to me.
This sounds like a
She knew it.
episode, man. Not to bring
It was something from the Twilight Zone. It really was, and she was right. I am you, Nick. She was like, I am you. I dish what you serve. If you serve me garbage, I'm gonna serve you garbage right back. But also, the underpinning. But the underpinning of what she was saying was I'm a puppet. I'm a puppet. Use and abuse me.
Yeah. You liked it.
So
I think you.
No, I did. It was a horrible experience.
Well, I know. Just admit it. You liked it. Jeez.
So that was one of the last conversations I had with her. And to top off on one other thing, at the end of my working time with her,
Mm-hmm.
she was so mad at me. She was so pissed off that she didn't get her way as far as controlling and manipulating me and doing all these other type of things to me. She went ahead and married my best friend at my job.
Oh, really? Oh.
Is she still married today?
In a way, no, of course not. Single mom now, right?
Nick,
Absolutely.
Nick, did you learn from this experience, like not to?
Yeah, well, it was probably the biggest. Besides going to Cambodia, I would say that's definitely the runner-up. It was dealing with her. I mean, I had to deal with her for about 3 years, and she taught me a lot about myself, my own craziness, and my own personality.
Yeah,
and she showed me how evil. I mean, there's a lot more to the story about some of the things she used to do to try to get my attention. Very bizarre, very disturbing things she would do to try to gain my attention. She abused she abused herself to hurt my feelings. Think about that. But here's the thing, and here's the other thing I really want to make a point across.
Okay.
Is that when I would try to tell people about these things, like I just said, she married a buddy of mine at my job. And most people I would tell that to would say, you're fucking crazy. And this is why it's very hard to talk about these things with people, because they're so fucking crazy, no one would believe you. And every time I try telling people that I used to work with about her and what she used to do, no one believed me. Only one buddy of mine saw it. And he's an African American friend of mine who I used to like smoke pot and hang out with. He saw everything that took place, and he goes, "I saw everything. I know what happened between the two of you," and that's it, man. It really is. You're dealing with someone no one's gonna believe your crazy stories about this individual because they're just so far fetched.
All right. Well, on that note, guys, we're gonna shut this down.
Yeah, because I'm just kind of like I just got to smoke some weed and have some
Huff gasoline.
Oh, come on, Nick! I knew you were gonna say that.
Get your Tom.
Come on, Nick.
Okay, so I wanted to say, if anybody's still listening, next week I have lined up, hopefully, to join us is Paul Proteus, and he's been requested. So I'm hoping that'll happen. I'll try to confirm it later in the week. A lot of people have been asking me to get on because I had some really good talks with him in the past, and he's pretty popular guy.
This
so
was an awesome talk, and I think so. Cause,
it was good. It was very good.
Yeah, because I had to express my stuff about Bruce Lee because he's my hero, and they kind of tied in with the narcissism.
Good.
Like that.
Good.
Awesome. And Nick, you're a joker.
I love it.
Yeah. Well,
all right, guys.
You should notice that I don't get offended by it, but I love it.
I know, I'm just messing with you. But listen, next time you see that Afghani Uber driver, you better lop his head off with some.
Okay. Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Too often hit him over the head.
All right, guys.
Stop acting like a Canadian. All right.
Okay, guys. It was good talking to you.
All right, you guys. Take care.
I'll keep in touch.
Good night. We'll be in touch.
Yeah, we'll be in touch, and we'll arrange something for next Saturday around the same time. Okay.
All right, I'm psyched. Talk to you soon. Have a good week.
Yeah. Good night, guys.
Good
yeah.
chat. Good chat.
Bye.